Beasts as far as the eye can see. A plague on the surface, a disgusting swarm in the skies. With a crash of thunder, a new demon appears. Unfurling its rotten wings, it lets out a petrifying scream. It's time to fight back.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome back once again to the Mania 7 Key World Cup 2022. we have a couple matches right in a row here, starting off with Japan versus Brazil. And for this match, I am Toph Daddy. I'll be commentating. I am joined here by Juan Crystal. How's it going?
Hello, Toph. How are you doing?
I'm ready to see some 7-key action. Japan versus Brazil, I think, is going to be a pretty interesting match. This is... I think most people expected Japan to seed higher, but outside of that, these two teams are very close in seeding. I believe 9th seed and 12th seed? Something like that? Or 11th? Or 8th?
That sounds about right.
They're close.
Yeah, this is a matchup you'd expect a little bit later on, though, I think, in the tournament. Like, Japan kinda, I'll say, underperformed seed-wise. We were talking about this before the match started. Their long no abilities maybe weren't as at shape as we expected it to be for them. And so for Brazil, right? We expected Brazil to be pretty much on the top of the game as well. They were missing a couple players.
Yeah, I think they're just missing. At this point, like, Silly Fangirl has been carrying them through most of their matches thus far in the tournament. They're just, having a bit of second player syndrome in certain situations. Last week they were doing great, but against Canada they just weren't able to get a solid two-man roster to beat any two-man roster from Canada. And now they're going to have to see if they can overcome that second player issue against Japan here, and that's kind of a hard hill to climb.
It is
when you're looking at a team like Japan, who is, like we said, slated to be much higher seeded than they actually were, and got hit with a pretty tough couple of matches right away, beating Spain out in round of 16 on the winner's side. So
that was pretty high.
Yeah, that was insane. But we're getting our bans out of the way already. It looked like Brazil actually ended up losing that role, so they banned first. And they took out WWW, one of the LN maps, and Japan also took out a long no map. Now, something I should probably note is that Brazil's been a little bit odd on their picks this tournament so far.
That sounds like classic Brazil, though.
It does sound like classic Brazil. You are right. But we were talking before this match, and we were talking about the fact that Japan's long notes are just not as strong as I think people were expecting them to be, and Brazil's banned out a long no map as their first ban, or as their only ban, I should say. But and then Japan just responds back with another long no ban. So now there's 2 long no maps gone, in Brazil, depending on how this match goes, could end up having regretted making that ban.
They could run out of picks. Like, now the 2 long no's are knocked off the board. They only have what are there, 3 of them remaining?
3 long no maps left, and 3 is not a whole lot of picks to go off of if you're trying to get 7.
Definitely not enough. And not only that, if you could go for the hybrids as usual, that normally what the strategy of a long no team deviates to. But at this point, I think they maybe are a little lucky that Japan gets the first pick and they can go for Rise to start and maybe see what the match flow is going to be like.
Right, and there's no problem losing a pick from your opponent's side, especially not the first pick, since this is what you'd expect Japan to be the most confident about against Brazil here. But out of this opening, those accuracies are very, very close. Lotus Fangirl with a slightly lower accuracy than everyone else, but we still haven't hit quite the difficult sections yet. But Japan looks like they're starting to slowly take that lead out as the Brazilian accuracies start to decrease.
Yeah, you can see a couple of those hundreds here from Lotus Fangirl, but the accuracy in Japan are not really taking any sort of hit. And Silly Fangirl now with the first miss of the match here. It's not going to be good for Brazil, especially for the man who has been carrying them very hard so far. That's not the player you want to see missing.
Yeah.
Trade manager Koichi, though, might start to equalize players once more.
Yeah, but those accuracies are pretty equal. Oh, a second miss from Angel Koichi is going to make that lead pretty small. Now having accuracy similar to Lotus Fangirl, who hasn't dropped yet, but Suzuha really trying to carry Japan to the victory here. Going to need to keep that combo. I think both of them need to keep this combo. But if both on Japan keep it through the second half of the map, they should be able to take that lead back, especially now that Koichi's back at the 400 combo mark. But they can't afford any more drops.
Yeah, that definitely cannot. They cannot at all. But and we have to see if Nate can somehow pull this accuracy bug up a little bit. I think he has the potential to increase that percentage a little bit and maybe put it a bit difficult for Japan to take over this lead, although with time, like you said, this accuracy difference, it's ever so slightly in favor of Japan. And I believe they could get this lead back. It's only a part of the song still.
Yeah, but this ending gets pretty dense, and that's where those scores going to happen. And the accuracy drops from Brazil actually do already give that lead back to Japan, especially with those accuracies increasing on the side of Japan. Still at 99.7 plus from Suzuha. But another miss from Koishi's going to make this very close, but Nate trades it right back.
Oh, Nate not having the best of the day. Lotus Fanger now dropping as well. The last full combo Brazil is gone, and only Suzuha remains with no map left. Almost Koishi's going to drop a little bit. That's a big drop, actually.
There's some huge accuracy drops there. This is going to be pretty close coming to the end.
I don't think it's enough time unless something catastrophic happens here. Lotus Fanger is going to find another miss. There's the hopes and dreams of Brazil getting a breakpoint on the first one. Japan takes the Revik C. And for only, like, that was a close one. That was like 9,000 points.
Yeah, Lotus Fangirl and Koishi having pretty much equivalent scores. It's just that difference between Suzuha and Silly Fangirl. And that may have come almost solely off of the misses. 8/200's difference, but a better ratio from Silly Fangirl. And just a couple of combo breaks giving a pretty big lead to Suzuha there.
That's a sick score though by Suzuha. Only 2/200s, 990k in semifinals, 7 key. Like, come on.
Yeah, pretty good score. Especially when you're looking at such high caliber players around him getting 980k, 960k, you know. But that is Japan's first pick, so that's pretty much what they're gonna feel most confident on. But we're gonna have to move on to Brazil's pick. And
do you have Arias here? Like, they wasn't.
I don't think so. They weren't, but this is also one of the more straightforward maps in the entire pool. So the more difficult, physically, maps might not be the best stuff to go for from Brazil. I still think long notes could be a good angle of attack, just because Japan hasn't been showing to be super strong on them, and they could probably find themselves in a good spot. And they go for Jasmine Festa. Or Jasmine T-Girl. Oh, they're saying that in Portuguese. I realized that now. I was like, what is that map? But they're going Jax.
Yeah, Jackson specifically. So, like, it's a kind of a niche pick, right, on the Rise portion of the pool. So, I guess it makes sense.
Very, very easy to get good accuracy on. It's just about the misses here.
I don't remember Japan playing this sort of. I guess we could call it a core Jax, but not sure if that's the correct terminology.
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm pretty sure it's fine too, but you always have to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
But did we see them play this kind of maps before for Japan? Like,
I mean, I think it's safe to assume that on most Rise, Japan is just going to be pretty dominant in general. Just, you know, like I said, I think misses are going to end up being the biggest thing here, because accuracy shouldn't be too hard for Lotus Fangirl or Silly Fangirl to keep up with.
Yeah, but I like, based on the thing we saw before, the moment it gets a little bit denser, Koishi has shown some signals of getting lost in the pattern. Here, like, you don't really get lost in the pattern. The patterns are usually on core Jacks are not the hardest. They're just very easy to, like, physically struggle to hit here. But I can see a world where Koishi just finds a chain of misses here. So for Lotus Fang, in general, everybody on Cortex just can easily mess up and get a big CP rush.
Right, but early on, My Angel Koishi finding a break right after they hit the 400 combo mark. Not the best place to find a drop, but Silly Fangirl gonna trade that right out. But I think the accuracy overall is favoring Brazil, so as long as they keep the miss count at around the same as Japan, they should actually have a lead in this map.
That was 2 misses against 1 already. Koishi dropped one more time right after Silly Fanger got his own. But now Lotus Fanger is the one who's gonna miss, and there's no more full combos on Brazil. It's only Suzuka holding for Japan. And despite this pretty huge accuracy difference between Koishi and the rest of the people, Japan is slowly pulling it back. But then again, another miss by Koishi is not gonna help the Japanese side here.
Those misses on a relatively simple map are giving Japan that chance, or sorry, Brazil that chance to take their own point. But Silly Fangirl with a drop makes this lead very, very small going into the last quarter. This is essentially
like
even.
2000s. Yeah,
I think
so
Brazil
close,
should take this if there's no more drops, but it's going to be very close.
I don't know, man. The accuracy from Suzu is incredible here. They're still rocking the full combo, and I don't see any 200s even at any point. Lotus fanging out drops. Straight by Koichi, and another
a double
one.
miss from Koichi. Oh, this is so close.
But if it's still, Japan's still on the lead somehow. That 99.79, it's so big for Suzuka and Japan in general that they might still have this lead. Lotus Fangirl with another miss. No,
ending that with a drop, and Japan takes a break point.
That's again another 980k by Suzuha. A single 100, a single 200, an insane ratio. And just like that, Japan takes another point once more. Koichi struggling a little bit, arguably. But it's not enough.
Still at the point where they're able to carry pretty hard, and I'm not sure how that might go if they end up making it to finals. I'm not really sure, but they still have to get through 2 matches here in order to make it to that final stage.
Well, they're looking pretty hot here already. First point, they get a break point. They are looking very, very good here. Just on rise, Suzuka has been a monster.
Yeah, I'm not
so far.
Yeah, but now we're going back into Japan's pick, and I'm not sure exactly where they want to go in terms of rice. I'm not sure if they want to do the fast chord stream pick, since they picked Ravixi first. But no, they're going to go for the speed-based map.
Delay streams.
This is also one of the hardest maps in the pool. I was talking to some other 7P players and about the difficulty of this pool. This is really hard. 350 BPM streams with some chords in the middle of it. Not a whole lot, but the patterns are also not very friendly as far as I saw. But ultimately, that's the kind of thing you gotta go for.
I see 350 BPM and I'm scared. That's just,
it's already really
not
fast.
something you see often.
Right. But this is definitely the kind of thing that you'd expect Japan to pick into because, it's one of the hardest physically, and it's one of the hardest to get good accuracy on, and that kind of rice pick is exactly what Japan wants. They want to be able to take advantage of Suzuha's insane rice capabilities.
Yeah, but again, we saw in the previous figure in the core jets, right? That even though Suzuka has the heavily upper hand, Koichi struggled. He was behind both of the Brazilian players. So if a meta gets too dense or too tricky physically like this one, and we start to see drops from him, then he can easily swim to Brazil. Although in this case it doesn't seem to be. Lotus Fangirl is just struggling so hard on this planet.
The accuracy was actually, it was lining up with what we expected from the previous couple of maps, with Koichi being pretty low, and then I think Lotus Fangirl just got lost in one of those streams and had a chain of misses, and now Japan has a huge lead.
Those streams are just rude. Come on. Not only just the streams, right? The streams are hard on their own way already, but the fact that you have the chords in the middle and you have to swap back and forth with different rhythms makes it so hard to time, so hard to control. And that's why we see so many misses across the entire team of Brazil and across Koichi specifically. Suzuka doesn't seem to care that much. He's just
yeah, Suzuka's just kind of rolling through it. This is exactly what I was saying. Suzuka's here to carry, and this is exactly the kind of map that they're going to be able to do that. And even yeah, but even with Suzuha doing so well, Koichi is still doing significantly better than Lotus Fangirl, so they're both doing their job right now in this pick.
Oh, this is complete annihilation by Japan here. They are winning by a huge gap here. Definitely one of the better picks they could have made here. Again, I'm not calling this a Suzuha diff because Koichi did fairly well too. Only 2 misses on this is very impressive too. 952k, almost as good as Silly Fangirl even, who did insanely well too. He had this unfortunate misses in the middle, and that causes him to drop a lot of points based on combo alone. And then it's Suzuha who's essentially tied with Silly right this time. It wasn't that big of a difference.
Of accuracy. It was just the misses. It was just the misses.
Just the misses.
But we're back to Brazil's pick, and you know, I'm starting to think that they might be thinking that that LN ban might have been a mistake already, given that they've lost 3 Rice picks in a row. I mean, they
violent perfume instantly. Yeah, they definitely.
Okay, yeah, there it is. They're going for the more not straightforward. I shouldn't say straightforward. The more physically easy of the long no picks that are available, but I don't think that's quite. I don't think that's quite descriptive of what's exactly going on in this map. It might be physically easy, but the release and coordination required is very hard.
That sounds like your usual release pick in general, but when it comes to 7 key compared to 4 key, although I say the releases they get harder, right? You have more fingers to coordinate. But the fact that you have to coordinate them with 7 of them makes coordination in general for long so much harder. You have to see if Brazil can fare well with this kind of patterns. So far they are holding their own. Makiba is going to swap here for Lotus. Fanger. City Fanger is going to drop it, trade it with Suzuka. Are we going to see a reverse team performance where Makiba and Koichi are the mans who are comboing through this, and then Silly and Superfair will be struggling?
Maybe. That seems to be the case so far, but Silly Finger finding a chain of misses right there. Souza still only having just the one. But My Angel, Koichi, and Makiba holding on to that full combo right now.
Suddenly, Japan is again on a huge lead. The fact that Makiba's full combo is keeping some of the chances for Brazil afloat, but it's mostly the accuracy here that's making the difference. Koichi and Makiba actually are having very similar scores. In fact, they are essentially tied at the moment. Is this amount of misses by CD Fanger who's causing Brazil to drop this lead? And as well, because Suzuka himself, and this tricky coordinations. You have to hold so much stuff at the same time that if you're not used to play this kind of thing, you just struggle so much. The imbus in this portion is so hard to.
Yeah, I mean, Makiba finding a break on their full combo. Now there's only one full combo left on the board, and it's on Japan's side. And Suzuha, after that first break, also bringing it back quite well. 99.4 with the one miss. And a 2500 combo now going into the ending. And this is looking pretty dominant for Japan yet again. And that's not really what you want to see if you're Japan. That's about the same difference as we saw in the speed chart that we just saw Japan win.
This is supposed to be Japan's weakness, by the way.
Right.
So, and you can see that just in the 200 counts, right? You were expecting Suzuka in general to have like single-digit grades. Here we're talking 25, 26. And Koichi with the full combo here coming clutch as well, but he had 50. And it's pretty much the same thing for Brazil. They couldn't get those full combos out, but even with them, I'm not sure if they really have enough like steam to get through this map. I can see why they banned the lens initially, and I can see that going for this is a good thing against Japan, but is it just they struggling to do well enough on this fix to contest Japan anyway?
Yeah, I mean, no hybrids have been picked out, so that might be the only option left for Brazil. Thinking like, but even that, it's so hard to think about like what Brazil can even like take at this point, because Jasmine T-Girl and Ravixi, 2 of the most straightforward accuracy picks in the entire pool, were extremely close. But you know, Swoon the Sea of Quarks, Violet Perfume, both quite large differences, and now you know the rest of the maps in this pool are pretty physically difficult, and I just don't see Japan messing them up in the same way as I could see them messing up Violet Perfume or a straightforward accuracy pick.
And how they're like saying their nervous on the chat. And I guess that makes sense too, right? It has been so long since we've had a 7 key World Cup, right? They didn't really have that many chances to like play tournaments. Like they exposing themselves playing to a viewership or a viewer base. But that's a cool thing about tournaments, right? And this is one of the things I enjoy the most when I get to play them. Like getting into a stream, playing good matches against good opponents. So far the chat has been amazing. And like, I don't know what this 7 key World Cups has, but just in general 7 key has they're just good buys. They're just good, like vibing in general. Everyone is very respectful to each other, or at least that's what I found historically with 7 Key in the World Cup specifically more than anywhere else.
Yeah, but looks like the pick has come out for Japan. We're getting some more rice. I think this, in the same vein as the speed chart, is quite tricky, and it's mostly an act thing, I think, for this, at least in comparison to the rest of the maps in this pool. Low star rating, not super physically difficult, but not the easiest to get good accuracy on at all. And here I go into pick number 5. Japan hoping to bring that lead to 5-0 right now.
Wait, we're not seeing Suzuka on this?
That's a good point. That's interesting to not see Suzuka here. But like I said, this isn't like as physically difficult, so maybe they're just keeping Suzuka out so that more like techie accuracy-based players can take over for this, since you don't need that physical prowess to be super good at this. But a drop early. Actually, that was a double swap from Japan.
Yeah,
Lanxess and Lulu both taking those spots. Silly Fangirl, Lotus Fangirl coming back in, both holding that combo through the early patterns. Very good accuracy as well. Both of the Japanese players below 99 right now.
That was an interesting team swap. I imagine maybe they were looking to get some rest for the two main players here, and hoping again in this prize pick which is a little less physically demanding. So far, like, Lulu's still calling this full combo, and although the accuracy from Lanxess is a little bit low compared to everybody else, like they are holding their own ground. But here, this is like the chance that Brazil was looking for anyway.
Yeah, and Silly Fangirl, now the only one left with a full combo here, is doing his job of carrying the team on his back. But even then, Lotus Fangirl's accuracy is significantly higher than both Lulu M and Lanxess in this.
They're seeing a lot of misses though. Like everybody other than Silly Fangirl here is dropping the combo like crazy. It's not gonna matter too much because Brazil is just dominating this pick completely. This heavy patterns being a little bit of a problem for Lulu and Lanxess. They are both dropping the combo pretty frequently. And down into the 97s here, a little bit lower than what we used to see on the previous maps here. Brazil is going to take this point for themselves, first break point for the South Americans here in this matchup. And I mean, if they were looking for a chance, this is just gold.
Yeah, that is the chance to sort of swing the momentum in their favor, but they're still going to have to win a lot more picks from Japan here. And I'm curious if they're going to go for like one of the denser LN picks, or if they're going to go a hybrid, or if they're just going to stay on this Rice train since they just won that breakpoint.
Honestly, I will try a hybrid probably at this point.
I think I'd agree with you on that one.
Because like Rice-wise, sure, Japan had the upper hand. Most of the picks were fairly close. So you go for a hybrid, you can expose some of the Japanese weaknesses on long notes, like some like eventually, and then just try to equalize on Rice as you do on the previous picks.
There's also like that feeling that like if you're in Brazil's shoes, you kind of just have to do something new. You have to introduce something new into the match.
They went Korjaks, they went Lance, they both failed, one more miserably than the other, but they were like creative ideas for the most part. I like those picks. I don't think they're necessarily like a bad thing to do. It's just that sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, sometimes your opponent just plays better. Hybrids will be the thing that remains here, right? That they have some chance to experiment if they will. But it's just a matter of what, like if they want to pick a hype, which one of the three, right? They're all three very different. Instead they're gonna go for long notes, they're going for more denser.
Yeah, dense long notes coming in from Brazil. I don't think this is a bad pick in any case either. I think Silly Fangirl should be able to do quite well on a map like this, and if this is kind of like that limit to what Japan is able to do on long nodes, there could be a potential for like players like Suzuha or Koichi to have pretty big drops, and if Makaba can hold, then we could see something pretty big out of Brazil. But that might be a tall task to ask someone like Suzuha to start messing up.
If you're gonna target a player, you want to struggle with the maps. You gotta kind of target Suzuha, right? If you give Suzuha the picks he's most comfortable with, he is going to destroy them, and that has been the difference maker for the most part on the Rise department in this matchup. So again, Brazil targeting something that Suzuha showed at least signals of struggle. It makes a lot of sense. But again, we have to see if Nate can hold the ground, if Makiba can hold the ground here. You can always argue, yes, we will target the weakness of the opponent, but if the weakness of our opponent is something we're not really good at, then it doesn't work. We'll see if this is not the case or if it's just another one of those instances.
Yeah, and as we kind of expected, Suzuha having a bit of an accuracy problem in comparison to previous maps. Makaba actually right around the same accuracy as Suzuha, but Silly Fangirl with an accuracy very far ahead of Koichi is going to give Brazil at least the accuracy lead for now. And if they keep the combo, this should keep the score lead in their favor as well.
Not by much here. Maki was dropping a little bit of accuracy back into the 99.1, now behind Koichi, and it's just the difference between CD Fangirl and Suzuha here. This pick looks a little bit more straightforward than the previous one, but a little bit more physically demanding as well. Oh, the double miss by Japan though on the transition. That's no bueno for the Asians here. Brazil's going to take an interesting lead of this.
Then we're getting into the denser parts of it. Silly Fangirl is going to find his first break of the match. Makiba the last one with the full combo, but that accuracy is giving Japan the chance to take that lead back right now. And returning to normal, Suzuha's back to the top in the lobby in terms of accuracy, despite this being a long note map.
Oh, that was a bad miss from Makiba. Ouch.
Yeah, a bit of a nasty sweep pattern there, and no full combos left on the board. Makiba still trying to get back to that 400 combo now, and misses while they're on the path to it, and gives Japan a lot more time to extend that lead.
Now back into another calm section here. One of a transition, and Japan is again looking in the lead by a comfortable amount here. About, what is this, 20,000, 15,000 points of difference? Sure, if in the second section of this, we can easily see some drops, and we even see one now by Suzuha here training with Makiba. But again, any misses Suzuha gets here for Brazil is good news. The better accuracy, tanking a little bit because of the misses is everything bad for Brazil here, really. But again, these sweepy patterns, as you said before, are proving to be a bit of a challenge here for Brazil. And it's not a good thing. They have to stop this. Oh no,
whoa. Four-way miss. That's a combo reset for everyone. And I think that honestly favors Japan, since everyone was finding breaks there. And they have the higher accuracy right now. But misses from Silly Fangirl and Suzuha in this trickier section. Makiba and Koichi. So yeah, and now we're getting into Spike in the Met, the densest part. Final chorus. Makiba had found a break. Silly Fangirl finding a break as well. And both of the Japanese players keeping their combo through this and looking to take that breakpoint right back from Brazil coming into the ending.
Even stamina is starting to seem like a problem pretty much for everybody here. In general, you have so many instances of releases here that having a tight hit concentration is like Chiwi levels. Otherwise, you're not going to get good hit concentration. Everybody's spreading a lot of his hits, missing every now and then. Many 200s. Accuracy being comparably low to what we used to see on Rise, and that's no surprise. These mini LNs are a bit of a challenge here too as well. Makiba dropping, but the difference is too high. It's not going to matter. 30,000 points for Japan again, and they're back to the game. Another breakpoint after the hiccup. And you can see just the 200 counts for everybody. You can like the difference on how more challenging this was compared to the previous Olympic we saw rather. 120 200s for Koichi, 79 for Suzuha, 119 for Silly Fangirl, 160 for Makiba. Across the board, you have like 400 plus 200s in this lobby. That's a huge amount.
Yeah, and we're comparing that to some of the rice picks we saw earlier, where the total was something like 70.
Yeah, if you combine all the 200s of these players, you compare to the 300 count of like Nate or Suzuha on one of the rice picks, this is higher. The 200s are higher.
LNs get harder on this stage, but we have Japan with another pick here, and they've got 3 rice picks to go through, and they go with Shuten. I mean, I don't think we ever expected anything else to come out of Japan.
I'm not surprised at all. Again, as you said, rice is the name of the game for Japan, and going for those, like, I can expect them to avoid core checks, but once that's like off the table, then you can pretty much go for anything. Although they lost their own point on rice, but I will argue that was maybe on the team swap rather than like Japan.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a bad pick or if they just wanted to give their players a rest and ended up giving away a point.
I think they wanted to get some rest and maybe also some spotlight to the rest of the team, right?
I could definitely see that, but Koichi and Suzuha definitely staying in for this one. Lotus Fangirl coming back in for Brazil. The quintessential rice rosters for both of these teams coming out.
Oh, that would be savage. I'm reading the chat. What if they lost that point on purpose to make it 7-1? No.
Wow, don't no. No. I'm just gonna assume that they didn't. And here we go, fast chord stream, a little bit less dense than the first map we saw in this match, but the speed is definitely something to take care of. 235 BPM, quite fast for 7 key, especially when things get as dense as they are. Koichi finding an early drop, but Lotus Fangirl trading it right back. And those accuracies are actually a bit lower than we've seen for some of the other rice picks. Suzuha only at 99.66, only in quotation marks, and Silly Fangirl about 99.5, but the other two around the same, especially with that one miss trade from each of them.
99.7 now, though. The accuracy definitely got up here, but in general, the entire lobby is holding higher standards when it comes to accuracy in rice, and this is pretty much the proof of that fact, as we see the lowest accuracy being 99.35, now dropping a little bit off the back of those 200s. But still, Brazil is keeping up fairly well with Japan here. If they're expecting for some misses here, I don't think accuracy alone can bring this back for Brazil. Although Nate's accuracy is getting better with time, so maybe have enough time to catch up. But the difference between Koichi and Fangirl are a bit too much. I'd say they need a miss or two here.
Yeah, everyone combos through that first chorus. We're getting into the outro to this chorus in the second half of the map. And Lotus Fangirl does find 2 drops right in a row coming out of that chorus and probably going into one of the verses. But that's going to give Japan an even larger score lead right now, especially with that difference in accuracy between Lotus Fangirl and Koichi. And Nate's doing everything he needs to. He's keeping up with Suzuha for the most part, only a 10th of a percent behind. He just needs Lotus Fangirl to bring that accuracy up and hold on to the combo, because Koichi is not looking like slowing down right now.
Oh! No! No, the trade! Koichi finds a miss finally after so long, but then Lotus Fangirl ends up trading and even missing a couple more times afterwards. And this patterns are getting a little bit denser, right? That's the reason why Lotus is struggling a little bit to keep up with this. Like we're seeing like mostly single streams into like lower density chord streams, so now it's getting a little bit denser. The chords are getting a little bit like longer, more notes in it, and that's making it hard to read for Lotus, who unfortunately is gonna drop the combo so much that it's at the point of no recovery here, I think. Even with the misses from Koichi, the 4 combos from Silly Fangirl and Suzuha are both very impressive, but at the end of the day, it's Japan who reigns supreme in this one. They're gonna take their big numbers. Well,
6 points.
Number 6,
point number 6, pick number 7. So 6-1 right now, and Japan is on match point here. But it's Brazil's pick, so they have a chance to bring this back, but they need to start it right now. And this could potentially be their last chance to try something new with the hybrids, which none of which have been picked so far. We've only seen 2 Lano picks and 5 rice maps. Makita switching in pretty quick here makes me think that they're going to do either long notes or hybrids, but I could expect a long note map if not Makiba's going to be playing.
Yeah, I think Godish, I mean, they are going to go for the last one, I believe. I'm honestly kind of hyping up and rooting they're going to get a hybrid out of it, but I expect them to go for Godish.
But they are taking their time to make a selection. I mean, this is the most important pick of their tournament so far, so definitely not a bad idea to give it some time and talk with your teammates to make sure that the pick is exactly what you want it to be.
Oh, they're having 3 players in the lobby now, they're calling it balance.
True. 3 versus Suzuha, the classic matchup. And the ref is pushing for a pick out of Brazil. Looks like they're going to need to get one out soon. We'll see what their plan is to try and get themselves back into this match. But keep in mind that even if they win this, Japan... Oh, they went for Robert. Tech pick. This is actually... I do remember seeing this. This map is insane.
Yes! This map is like... I don't know how to call it. Like, just by listening to it, when you see an Igor song in a semi-workout, you gotta be scared.
It's not, like, insanely dense, but the patterns are so, like, everywhere.
I think the right word is just rude.
Yeah.
Jinjin was very angry when he did this, probably. I have no, doubts, but also no proof of this.
But yeah, I don't actually mind this as a pick from Brazil. And it looks like Lulu M and Lexus are coming back in for this, which potentially bodes well for Brazil here. Not having Suzuha on a pick is always going to be advantageous for Brazil.
Oh, there's Mifa on the chat. I wonder if he has something to say about it. Though.
No, he doesn't. We're not gonna mention that. But here we go into pick number 8 out of a potential 13. But with Lulu M and Lexus coming in on Brazil's potentially last pick here. Like I said, this could bode well for Brazil given what happened last time Lulu M and Lexus came in for a pick. A more technical pick, I should mention as well. So there is potential that Lulu M and Lexus are just the better tech players on the team. But already out of the gate, a few misses from Japan's side. Silly Fangirl holding the combo, Lotus Fangirl trading one of the misses back. But even this intro giving Brazil quite a lead already.
This is another case similar to what we saw on the previous map that Lulu and Lexus played, and it's again that they are struggling with this kind of patterns, and I don't blame them really. Like, these patterns are rough. Like, everybody in the lobby already missed at least once here, and Lotus Fang is struggling super hard too, like getting down into the level 97 here. He's struggling very hard actually. I'm starting to get a little concerned.
Even Silly Fangirl in this intro section was dropping down to that low 99, which is very uncharacteristic of him. But yeah, as I said, these patterns are everywhere. Very rude patterns from Jinjin, and I like you said, no blame to anyone for not being able to play something like this. It's something so different from what you'd expect to have to play in tournament, and certainly something so different from what anyone really plays by themselves when they're trying to either improve or just have fun with the game. So it's probably like new territory for a lot of these players in the tournament.
Patterns are just odd. Like that's probably the best way to describe it. You're just not used to see this kind of patterns, you said, in general. And if you mix those odd patterns with just mini jacks in the middle, it gets super rough. Like at this point, you can see the players are starting to get more comfortable with it, mostly due to the lack of jacks and the patterns being fairly linear for the most part. You don't have many density points at all, although the snaps are well over the place, all over the place.
Yeah, not to mention that those jacks are at 200 BPM. Which...
Yeah, that's insane. Like that for 4 key levels, that is insane already, or it's getting insane. For 7 key, when you have so many fingers involved, it just gets impossible. It is just factually impossible.
Yeah, we're running into the last quarter, and Brazil has over a 100,000 point lead right now, and it would take a pretty big issue from Silly Fangirl for anything to happen, because I think as long as he holds well. Also, should I mention that he has a full combo right now?
Oh, he had 1 miss. I'm pretty sure he had 1 miss.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm still calling 1 miss insane.
It is insane, regardless. Like, just that accuracy is insane. Even if you had like a million misses, but with that accuracy is impressive. Like, just compared to everybody else, Lulu's struggling to get an S rank on this. What is this song, by the way, too? Like,
classic
it's
Igor.
been a while since I didn't hear Igor. Oh my god, those panels are just blowing. Oh my god, those are so rude.
that whole map is rude. But yeah, two breaks from Silly Fangirl, but 2 misses is about 100 less than the rest of the lobby combined. So. And 35 200s. That's ridiculous.
I like how the music just goes somewhat back to normal at some point, but then just goes full Igor again.
Full Igor, but Koichi coming back in. I assume Suzuha is going to come back in for Japan's next pit, looking to get themselves out of this match and into the next losers bracket match this weekend. There's only one nice pick remaining.
Electromagnetic stealth.
I can't imagine them going for anything else.
I mean, what if they just surprise us?
Yeah, and they throw a hybrid at us. Thing about the electromagnetic stealth girl is that it is about 4.5 minutes. It's pretty long. So that could be factored into whether Japan wants to pick it, but I mean, I still think it's their best remaining map in the pool.
Well, no, they're going for Mushi. Okay, they're going hybrids. Mushi no Sumo. Okay, Japan. Show me what you got.
Bringing something new on the table. First hybrid of the map so far, and I mean this one's really short, 1:46 seconds. So it could have been the length that just convinced them not to move on to electromagnetic, or the last right.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call, really. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Going for something shorter where they might be able to abuse this physical advantage that they have overall and fish for some misses from Brazil. In general, shorter picks favors more physically burst teams.
Yeah, and not to mention, Lothus Fangirl staying in for the hybrids, Makiba being swapped out for this one.
Yeah, but Lulu's here too, instead of Suzuha. Suzuha is still not playing.
Oh yeah, that too. That's actually kind of interesting that Brazil is keeping their more rice-oriented player in for the hybrid, but Japan is keeping Lulu M in for this pick. An early ACK lead for Brazil here, mostly off of the back of that accuracy drop from Lulu M at the start. And a double miss from Brazil here, matching Lulu M's misses, but that accuracy drop from Lulu M is pretty massive here.
So far, the accuracy between Semifinals and Miami and Koichi are pretty much exactly the same. The difference he makers is those who Banger against Lulu, who now is dropping, so Lulu's having his chance here to catch up, although a trade happening right afterwards.
Yeah.
Lead.
The big combo from Koichi here, but that's such a huge accuracy difference between Lulu M and the Brazilian players, down to that low 97%. And that lead is only getting bigger for Brazil as Lulu M continues to find drops and accuracy breaks, despite the fact that Koichi has the highest accuracy and the largest combo in the lobby here.
I think Koishi's recovering. I didn't want to say it because, you know, faster curse, but oh my god, everybody missed on that last thing ever. Other than Koichi here in Semifinals, and I'm pretty sure that's a full combo. Yeah, and that is a full combo. 972k by Koichi. That's a pretty insane score too, as well. 200 counts, very low. But even with that, Brazil is still gonna take this. They're gonna be winning their third point, and that's another break point. So now things are not looking too bad for Brazil, really. Like they have the momentum going for them at least. So they want a hybrid, so potentially they can pick some other hybrid. The fact that Suzuki's not playing for me is very strange. I wonder if something happened maybe.
Yeah, potentially. I think Suzuha was having internet issues last week, which could be a portion of an issue, but I'm not exactly certain.
I think it's the captain, right? It's the captain.
Yes.
Well, Koichi was making picks here, so maybe you're right. Maybe he just had some issues here. Another round.
In any case, it is Brazil's pick here. And they just won the hybrid pretty safely, so they could decide to go back into, you know, one of the other two hybrids remaining, or they could go long notes, I suppose. But I don't really hate any of those last three picks. And they picked the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't remember newspaper from Jeans being a pickable pick, but okay.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, but what do they go for? Again, I would just go for the hybrid here.
Yeah, and they do. They go for the first hybrid. The Wilbenshan hybrid, which I think is a little more long note favored than the other two. I'm not exactly sure the comparison though.
And it's a minute and 40 seconds, so.
And three Brazilian players. 3v Koichi this time, not Suzuha.
Although they wanted to make it a little bit more fair. I like the comment here, like, welcome to Japan.
Welcome to
It's funny, right? Because you're like, welcome to Brazil, but reversed.
Yeah, but it looks like Suzuha is back in the lobby, able to play this hybrid. Makiba actually taking Lotus Fangirl's spot in Brazil, so I think it's safe to say that it is long note head favored.
Exactly.
But with Suzuha back, I think Japan could probably still take this, even though it's a little bit long note favored. They have been taking a lot of the long note picks just off of the back of that accuracy from Japan.
I do think the easier the LNs get into the map, then the better the chances are for Brazil, I think. And for this one
definitely.
I will argue with the hybrid nature of this, like, it could be that Brazil gets this point like normally, but with Suzuha on the board, I mean, at least the pressure is on.
Yeah, I mean, Brazil needs to win the next 3 picks in tiebreaker in order to stay alive in this tournament. Japan just needs to win 1.
Maybe I forgot that detail. Maybe.
So they have to win their own pick, and then another Japan pick, and then their own pick again, and then the hardest map in the pool. So they've got a large hill to climb if they want to win this, but it has to start here now. And Makiba finding a couple breaks pretty early on in a quite large accuracy drop as well, down below 97 out of this intro. With Suzuha at 99.5, Silly Fangirl matching Suzuha, and then Koishi just above the 99s, holding that accuracy lead for Japan, and 2 full combos as well.
The scores are too much for Makiba, he's dropping so much. Like when it comes to the long range, you can see he's more comfortable with, even though still he's scoring some misses every now and then, but you can see he's definitely more comfortable when he's kind of fine as well. I mean, not more basically.
Yeah.
A bit too harsh.
Yeah, that Koishi and Silly Fangirl finding a trade on those patterns. Suzuha, the last full combo remaining, and what else could you expect from Suzuha? Here he's been dominating this entire match.
Oh, client.
I don't like the looks of this. Okay, everyone's back.
Let's go.
Whew, that was a close one. But a few more misses from Brazil's side. Suzuha still holding on to that full combo. And Koishi doing well enough to hold better than both of the Brazilian players as well. So this is looking like a pretty dominant point for Japan to take this match under their belt.
Yep, this is a similar story to what we saw in the past, right? Lulu struggling to get the S rank on the side of Japan on the Igor pick, and here we see Makiba being the one that struggles. He gets the S rank after all, but this accuracy from Suzuha and the full combo as well, may I add. Only a single miss from Koishi, that's just too strong for Brazil to compete, and Japan will advance not necessarily to the next stage, but at least to their next opponent this weekend on the semifinals losers bracket.
Yeah, moving on to finish at least in the top 8 for this tournament. Brazil being knocked out of the tournament with that loss in top 12, but they performed quite well, getting through qualifiers and then winning a losers bracket match to make it to semifinals. Definitely impressive play from them, but Japan will be the ones moving forward through this tournament.
Yes, this means we get to see Indonesia against Japan, right? 40 UTC tomorrow? Yeah, it is the case.
Yes, Indonesia-Japan is the match that will be happening for the advancement into top 6. Only one of the 2 teams will make it to top 6 from them. And that's going to be an insane match. Indonesia and Japan are both going to be extremely strong contenders for that top 6 position.
Honestly, yes, I'm pretty scared of those 2 teams. Like, Indo, I'll say it's a bit of a surprise. I think that Indo got knocked down too early into the losers bracket. I was expecting them to hold on a little bit longer, personally. But the fact that they're facing Japan it's definitely a big test for them.
Yeah, huge thing to watch out for, and that's happening tomorrow. But like we said, we still do have 2 matches left in this block. Thailand and Chile coming up in a few minutes, and Canada, Spain coming up right after that one. So we got a couple more exciting matches coming up here.
Oh yes, you better not move there from your table. No, your chair, man. Come on, I know English. You're not sitting on a table, Chad, are you? Yeah. Anyways, we have 6 minutes.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll be back in about 6 minutes to introduce Thailand, Chile to you guys.
There we go. We should be getting sorted, started, ready, and good to go for Thailand and Chile. The second match of this block. Again, once more from the losers bracket. Again, Juan Crystal commentated here as you heard on the previous match, but this time with someone different. We have Sparky joining the commentary booth. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Excited to see more amazing 7 key action, especially deciding some of these loser bracket matchups. As you said, we do have Thailand going up against Chile here in this best of 13 now, if I remember correctly.
Yes, the first to 7 is gonna be the winner of this semi-final matchup, and this is not all we have for these two teams. Sure, one of them is gonna get eliminated if they lose. They're getting knocked out of the tournament, but the winner gets to face the winner between Canada and Spain, which is happening right after this. So we still have more action, and hopefully as good of a caliber as we saw in the Japan versus Brazil match. Suzuka was popping off, so was Sydney Banger. In general, we got a chance to see pretty much the entire team of both sides playing at their best. And for this case specifically, Thailand and Chile are both well-known names in the 7-key community. Gonzalo and Scarlin has always been a heavy duo to face on the Chilean side. And you see Law School and you instantly feel like shivers down your spine. Law School has to be one of the best players the 7-key scene has ever seen. And seeing him back here, for me at least, is quite a feat from this tournament and something that you all should be looking forward to see this guy playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Lost Cool has been absolutely tearing apart these map pools, and it'll be very interesting to see how both teams perform on this pool specifically. I've been watching some of these picks go back and forth in earlier matches, and this pool is not to be trifled with. I mean, there's some pretty terrifying picks, both in sound and in charting.
Absolutely. Like Robert is the one of a kind, but then you have stuff like Swim in the Sea of Quarks. Those are just insane picks, but in two very different ways. And in the longer department as well. Like, we didn't see Snowy or WWW. They both were banned on the last match. And this time we've seen Electromagnetic being banned from Thailand, Godish from Chile. Not much of a surprise. I mean, Thailand is the alien team to beat for Chile here. And Chile is probably going to be the consistency-sided, more accuracy-oriented team. So those ones makes a lot of sense. But even in the longer department, as I was saying, we saw Nigra Ludia, which is extremely tricky to coordinate and to just play throughout. And we didn't see Snowy and WWW, where both also extremely complicated longer picks. So this match is gonna be intense.
Yeah, definitely a test of the mettle. You want to make sure you have the right players in the right positions at the right times on these picks. Don't want to be inadvertently giving your opponent a leg up by having the wrong players in. You got to make sure you're absolutely comfortable. And right now, Chile taking their time, making sure they start off this match on the right foot. And it looks like we do have a pick coming in. It's gonna be Rice 2.
Shuten no Saki ga aru to suru noraba. Or naraba, actually. Well, that was probably close enough.
That's closer than I would have gotten. And it looks like we're gonna have Matias and Gonzalo going up against Lost Cole and Mitsuki, unless there's any last second substitutions here. And right as I say that, it's gonna be Fast CL.
Alright. Lost Cole and Mitsuki are both gonna be facing Fast and Gonzalo on the Chilean side here. Starting off with the Rice here. If I recall correctly, this was the faster core stream pick, right? I'm recalling correctly, right?
Yes, you are. A lot of core streams. There's a couple of little core jack sections, nothing too crazy for players of this caliber, but definitely going to be watching out for coordination. Make sure you don't get lost in all of the notes flying across your screen here. And it looks like they're just sorting out some logistics in the lobby. Make sure everybody's ready. Make sure you have your mods right. Make sure you have the scroll speed right. And it looks like we're going to be getting into this map 1 in this matchup against Thailand versus Chile.
And if there's a way you want to start a match is with a win here, Chile with their own pick on Rise again. I think this should favor them ever so slightly, but again, against a team like Thailand, and this is somewhat of a theme here in general in Mania, not just 7-key, although maybe a little bit more emphasized. Long No teams seem to have the upper hand for the most part, in matchups at least, right? Because if you can play dense and hard Long Nose, then you can probably play not as dense Rise like we are seeing right here, but doesn't seem to be the case here for Miski, who is struggling already on the start of this map quite a lot. In fact, 97% is his accuracy, compared to everybody else, that's a little bit low.
Yeah, the one outlier in this lobby right now, Miski, compared to somebody like Lost Cool, his teammate, holding it steady at 99.7 in this early going in this map. But that early difficulty from Miski going to give Chile a very healthy advantage going into the second quarter of this map. And as we approach this second third of the map, we do see a bit of a lighter section here before we pick up the density again. And right now, Chile's still holding on to this lead fast, dropping the full combo now, but it's going to be Gonzalo versus Lost Cool now.
Gonzalo having a lower accuracy here compared to Lost Cool, but this accuracy difference between Miski and Fast is proving to be an opportunity to keep this lead afloat, and even one more miss here by Miski is going to turn that table even a little bit more to the side of the blue team here. And I'll argue even then, Miski had a couple more misses in general than Fast. It's just that the accuracy overall from Miski is a bit better. 200 pound, that is.
Yeah, and as they trade back and forth, the accuracies are evening out across the board here. 99.4 for Gonzalo, 99.6 for Lost Cool. It's going to be imperative that Gonzalo holds on to that full combo. You would imagine if he breaks, then the tide could definitely start turning in this last third of the map.
Absolutely, and we still have to see this very last part of the map, which is this similar core stream structure, but a little
and there goes Gonzalo.
Gonzalo gets caught off by this part, and that's a lot of drops from him. Thailand
oh boy.
Back into the hands now with the
and with fast dropping.
Oh boy, that's a comeback and a half here by Thailand, who, off the back of Lost School here in the full combo, they might be looking to pull out such an incredible comeback here on this Rise 2.
Yeah, Chile getting caught out in this back half of the map. Lost Cool definitely keeping his cool throughout this entire map. Still the only full combo left in the lobby. It's up to him to hold on, but he has been the rock for Thailand so far this tournament, so very unlikely that he would drop it at the very end. And right now it feels like he has a miss in hand just based on these drops from Gonzalo and Faz. Unprecedented here, a breakpoint very early on in this semifinals matchup, and it looks like Thailand's gonna be taking it.
And I told you folks, the LN team has the matchup advantage here, and in something that doesn't get quite as dense to the capabilities of Lost School, that's a no problem. 980 AK, not quite Suzuha levels as we saw in the previous match, but certainly good enough. And Gonzalo, the key member of Chile who was holding so strongly, at the end, that density spike is very light. It is not that big of a spike, but just that gap that can do or break a team, and that's exactly what happened to Chile here. They could not hold on that very last section. Thailand with an impressive comeback here again on the first map in the match, and now they get to pick, and I have no doubts in my mind they're gonna go for long ones here.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be the case here. We're gonna see some very different strategies going in, and it's just a matter of what Thailand decides to go with. And it looks like they're gonna go for Snowy here, the first LN.
Gonna get some icicles.
It has been very cold up in the north.
I unfortunately cannot say the same here in the south, but
oh boy,
I can imagine the north gets a little bit too cold. It is weird here though, like we don't get too cold here, but we definitely get too hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully this song will cool me down a little bit. I hope that much.
The mood will be set.
Yeah.
But it looks like we're gonna have some substitutions here. Scalum coming in for Chile. And it looks like Thailand's gonna be keeping the same roster here as the players are loaded in. They're ready.
No surprises here from Scalum. Really, he is historically the LN man, the LN anchor for Chile. Not only on 7 key, he also showed up on 4 key quite a lot of times in the past as the LN player for the most part. So him joining here makes a lot of sense to me. We'll see if that is enough for Chile to have a chance against the stronger long nose from Lost School and Thailand in general.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the name of the game here for Chile is just holding on. Make sure you hold on to these combos. Maybe seek an opportunity to capitalize on any mistakes from Thailand. As we're already second quarter of the map coming up, and Skalem dropping these LNs being very tricky to coordinate. And Faz following close behind, both full combos now gone for Chile. Gonna hand Thailand a pretty healthy advantage as we get into the second third of this map.
Those are a lot of pressure from Scal, and he's struggling a little bit with this one. Again, I don't blame him. These releases are super hard to coordinate. Like, there aren't really many visual cues really to understand the releases before, like just seeing them in general, and that makes it so much harder because you have to just straight up read them. You can't really use your intuition to get those releases right. At least it doesn't feel that way to me. And
yeah,
that seems to be the problem from Scaling here. Lost School and Miski are holding their ground super comfortably. Miski arguably with a lower accuracy, but you know, in this kind of scenarios, you are hoping for combos, and that's exactly what we've seen from Thailand.
Yeah, definitely the right pick right now as we get into the last third of the map. I mean, if you're Chile, you're not really too disheartened by this. This is Thailand's pick, and you would imagine if they're the ones picking it, they're really comfortable on it. And it looks like with these full combos from Thailand, that seems to be the case. So, I mean, nothing to get too worked up about. It's mainly just surviving on picks like this so you can get back to your own picks. But once they do get back to their own pick, gonna make sure you don't hand Thailand another breakpoint like in Rice 1 earlier, or in that Rice pick from earlier.
Control required here gets to insane levels as you have 4, 5 longest to hold throughout different portions and different lengths. Just coordinating all your fingers to release properly. Lost School doesn't seem to have an issue, but as you see, even Miski now dropping the combo once or twice, and despite the efforts from Chile here, Thailand's just gonna run away with a huge lead. That's 100,000 points. That's on the almost 6 digits of difference. Only 10 200s by Lost School. And the ratio is probably more insane than the fact that he got 10 200s. Almost a 10-1. That's a 9-1 ratio. That's ridiculous.
That's scary. The fact that we're already in semifinals and players like Lost School are able to pull off ratios like this, that's you just have to hats off moment right there.
I mean,
there's not much you can do.
I think I need more than one hat. I'll need a couple at the very least. Like, what was that score, Lost School?
That
97 on this is probably the best thing we're gonna see, bar none, of this match. I mean, Malaysia played already, but this was probably banned against them. And that's like the only team I can see maybe getting close. Even then, I don't expect anyone to beat that score ever. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely one of the best scores of the weekend on that map. But it looks like Chile already know what they want to go with. They're gonna go for Jasmine T-Girl here as hopefully to get a foothold in this match. Gonzalo tagging back in now. And I'd imagine we'd see a Faz tag in for Skalem. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is our Core Jack pick.
Yeah, this is correct, yes. And I'm not surprised to see Scaling here either. Like,
okay.
This kind of niche Rice picks are something Scaling has been known to be able to hold on through. And even then, I can see Jazz maybe, Fast rather, to struggle a little bit with this kind of things. Lost School and Miski seems to be a immovable lineup. I don't expect Thailand to swap players at any point of time. And if
if any broke, they'll fix it.
And they're not, so.
Alrighty, and as we get into it, we're going to see a little bit of a tug of war in the leaderboards here very early on. Very imperative you don't break combo early. But it looks like everybody seems to have it on lock here. Chile with a tiny bit of an advantage, and right as I say that, just 300 separating these two teams right now.
So far it's just the accuracy as you said, but there's a
but Miski. Not too detrimental, maybe just a little bit of a miss, but since he's out of that combo cap range, Chile going to be able to capitalize a little bit, maybe take the lead here, as Miski does recover very well.
It is getting close, but I still think that Thailand's going to run away with this lead ever so slightly. This accuracy from Gonzalo is a little bit low compared to everybody else. saying that a 99.4 is low is quite a thing, really. But
Oh, but that
now
drop's
with
not
miss
gonna help
here,
things.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna help things. Gonna make it a little bit easier for Thailand. Now they have some breathing to work with too. But Skyrim is definitely chasing, and he's pretty mad. We'll see if he can hold this combo through in the last third of the map here. Go for maybe a miss or two on any of the Thailand players. It should do the trick. Of course, a miss from Law School would be ideal, but any miss can do for Chile here. If they can get these combos together, maybe tighten up the ratio a little bit more, ever so slightly, especially Gonzalo, they could have the chance here. It's mostly just a miss that separates these two teams right now.
Yeah, and as we get into the last eighth of the map, oh, and Miski drops again. That's gonna open the window here. A couple more drops. Can Chile capitalize? We're getting to the end. Oh my god! That is the gentlest part of the map. And Chile!
3 in a row, and that's exactly what Chile was looking for now. They get the point, they steal it. They literally stole this from Thailand at the very last second. 5,000 points, and it was off the back of those 3 consecutive misses from Mitsuki at the very end.
Oh my goodness.
A comeback, what a clutch victory we saw here by Chile.
Absolutely, clutch is the perfect word for that. Skalem with that full combo at the very end, managing to hold on just enough for Chile to be able to capitalize on those misses from Mitsuki, and they get their first point in this match. 2-1.
And you gotta feel the nerves if you're Mitsuki. You know that point was off of your back, and he was playing so well too. That's the most shocking part. Like, I will argue that wasn't even the hardest part of the map entirely. He just like misread or mistimed the long jacks and got caught, and that's it. And that's the map.
Yep, and at this level, I mean, misses like that are absolutely brutal, but you gotta shake it off. That was Chile's pick. No harm, no foul. You're still in the lead, so, and you're gonna be able to go back to the LN picks where you've basically established a foothold on the bottom half of this map pool. So, I mean, can't take that too hard, but definitely one of those where you look back and it's probably just gonna be a little bit painful to watch.
Certainly. But again, as you said, you have to shrug it off. And with a pick like this, I think it's the perfect scenario. Violet Perfume, again, another one of the longer picks that are more into the techie coordination / release scheme. And that certainly favors Thailand. They still have 1 point of like in favor. They lost a map that was a Chilean pick, so it's not the end of the world either. They can get back into track with this one. They should be pretty good anyways. Like, Minsky needs to get a good performance here to just get the mental back and have all reset and be good for the rest of the map.
Yeah, and if there was ever a map to do it, I think Violet Perfume's the perfect kind of pick for that.
The thing here is, even with a rubbish performance from one of the Thailandese players, I can expect Chile to drop here. And I just see Skalin is the one that drops already a couple times even. Because again, this type of longness that base Skalin is pretty good at, it gets so hard. The coordination required is insane, and I see Skalin more of a denser player for the most part. This kind of structures are things he's gonna struggle with, and he is struggling with.
Yeah, we're already halfway through the map, and this is a very healthy lead for Thailand. Definitely what the doctor ordered here to recover from that comeback from Chile on that earlier Rice pick. As Faz drops, there goes both full combos from Chile, both Thailand players holding on to theirs, and definitely on course for snagging that 2-point advantage here. Third of the map left.
Regaining that composure. At least Minsky doesn't seem to be hit by that performance at all. He's completely destroying this chart. Full combo on this is insane. The fact that Law School is full combo on this with a 99.8 is even more insane, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Like, that's an accuracy you don't expect to see on Rice, and the guy's just pulling it on a long no pick, and one of the trickier ones, may I add.
Yeah,
is
definitely.
This an SS? Did he got a 200? Oh, no, that was definitely. Oh, he misses. No.
He heard you from all the way across the world, and he wanted to spite you. That perfect performance. It was a slider drop.
I'm done. Bye. No, I can't believe this. I am so sad.
I think you need to personally write him an apology for ruining that amazing. I mean, ruining's a harsh word. 988 is still an incredible score, but I mean, 1-1. Just put your finger over the judgments. Just put your finger over the ones. And yeah, that was a double S. That was a double S. That
Oh
was
my god, lost score. I'm so sorry, but that score is just insane and
that,
ridiculous, and it's
that's.
not allowed. It should be legal, and you should run.
But with that being said, Thailand take a 3-1 lead now. Going back to Chile's pick, and they're gonna stay. It looks like what is this pick?
Well, this is
Oh.
Chile's pick, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go for Rice again here. So I'm expecting something like Sparks, maybe. They
Yeah.
could go for Revixie as well, more of a consistency, denser Korjak, or not Korjak, Core Stream pick. But the thing is, Gonzalo struggled a little bit with the ending of Shuden, so I'm not necessarily sure they should go for something harder on the density side of things, maybe something lighter like Roberts or Sparks, and they are going for Roberts.
Are they going for Robert? Rice 6 looks like
Thailand?
Sparks, isn't it?
Oh, that's Sparks. Yeah, that's not Roberts' name. My bad. Okay, I was right initially. I'm glad.
Yeah, definitely calling out the strategy here for Chile. Gotta make sure stick with the Rice. And I mean, if they can pull off a performance like they did on Jasmine Tigral, where they just held on just enough to capitalize on the mistakes from Thailand, definitely have a way in here. Everybody get your cat jams in the chat. This is a really nice song. Credit to the map poolers for picking some bangers in all these map pools so far.
Yeah, I gotta say that the music diversity, not just the bangers, right? All pools should have at least a couple bangers. That's just like a thing, a rule, a not written rule. But the fact that the diversity of songs here is pretty good too. That helps a lot because you can like get
There's
songs.
something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. You can please anybody here with this kind of pools just on song choice alone.
Yeah, and as we load into map number 5, Chile looking to take another point away from Thailand here. Inch ever so closer to tying this up. They're still going to need a break point if they want to tie it up, but on a Rice pick like this, definitely room for opportunity.
Certainly, and a pick like this, that's arguably one of the lighter picks in terms of density, but certainly one of the more techie-oriented ones in the pool. Obviously not to the levels of Igor, but you have a lot of broken core streams for the most part here, and some tricky snaps that go back and forth between different time signatures. Well, not necessarily signatures, but like time measures.
Yeah, and that was a really big draw from Mitski there into the transition.
You have those kind of patterns as well that are very, very rude and very intrusive. You can easily mess up with, and exactly what happened to Miskin. Now to Scalim as well to trade it off.
Oh boy, as we get into the last third of the map, it's all to play for right now. Another draw from Scalim, not going to help matters for Chile here. Going to give Thailand a bit of an advantage, the biggest one they've had so far this map, as Scalim seems to be struggling a little bit on these awkward snaps, and Gonzalo dropping his full combo. That's not going to help matters either, as Thailand looking poised, but Miski trading these misses back. Lost Cool.
I think it's going to be enough, right? Gonzalo's kind of struggling with it.
Yeah, and Lost Cool, the rock that he has been so far for Thailand this tournament, showing up yet again here. Only full combo left in the lobby, and there's not a lot of map left, and it looks like Chile is going to be able... not Chile. Thailand is going to be able to take another break point here.
That definitely seems to be the case. Off the back of Lost Cooler Than You, he gets the full combo once again. I think this is the lowest score that Lost Cool had in the entire match.
That's scary.
I'm pretty sure. And that's a 986.
Definitely making absolute mincemeat out of this map pool so far. These ratios have been absolutely filthy from Lost Cool.
No, this is literally the worst score that Lost Cool got in the entire match so far. And it's a 986. 986. That is literally better than the best score that the Chileans got on any pick. Other than Scalim's Jasmine Steve by 100 points.
That's scary, but that being said, Thailand gonna be able to really put their foot on the gas here, going back to the LNs. You guys see LN4 here, time for the Moon Knight.
I'll try to avoid making comments about Law School's performance on this.
Please do. we want to see the full wrath of his LN proficiency on display. That being
We're
said,
gonna get to see it anyway. If he gets a miss or two and he gets the accuracies that he has getting, like it's still gonna be insane. Like, don't get me wrong.
true. And it looks like Faz is gonna be tagging back in here, pairing up with Skalem here, see if they can maybe take a breakpoint from Thailand. I mean, anything can happen. We've been singing high praises for Thailand on the LN ability, but I mean, they still have to perform the maps. It remains to be seen as we're loaded in here. I mean, this is one of the denser LN picks in this pool, so you feel like Skalem might be able to put out a bit more of a performance on this type of pick compared to the other ones, as Mitsuki finds the first drop in the match.
This is more of a fluent-ish or more flowy, like LN patterns are things that Skalem should do better. But again, this map is very peculiar in the sense that it is fairly easier for the most part until you get to the actual denser sweeps, and on those portions of the map is where I expect to see the most misses. I don't specifically expect Skalem to be the one to drop here. Instead, I expect Fast to be the one to struggle with this kind of sweeps. But we'll have to see. Mitsuki is already the first one to drop on the entire map though, so that's going to give Chile some chance, some leeway. But even then, the accuracy from Roscoe is just overpowering through that miss and giving the lead to Thailand anyway.
Yeah, when all is said and done, Mitsuki has recovered from that very early miss. On maps like this, it's very easy to recover back to that 400 combo cap. And like you said, with Lost Cool's accuracy and Faz dropping, just powering the lead back over to Thailand's side as we get into the second third of the map.
Yeah, the miss from Faz, as I was telling you, the more denser this gets, although it is flowy, it is expected to see a player that is mostly like an all-rounder to struggle with this harder sweeps, mostly on the release portion of it. They're very hard. Skalem gets a drop unfortunate over there, mostly of the reverse shield or the shield in general that you're getting there, like you see on the number 5 column and the center column as well. So the trickier ones.
Yeah, definitely hard to coordinate patterns like that in certain instances, especially in pressure situations, as it looks like Chile is riding the struggle bus a little bit as we get into the back half of this map. Chile with Thailand with a very comfortable advantage now. Boy, and these releases just get very abrasive, yeah. Thailand still with their full combos here. Last third of the map to go. Lost School still above that 99.7. And barring any unfortunate slider breaks at the end, I mean, this is quite the dominating performance from Thailand here.
You know what's the saddest part about this? I think that if Chile gets this performance against like half of the remaining teams of the tournament, they will probably be very close to take it, if not just outright. That's the most insane part. It's not that Chile is playing bad at all. They are having a pretty decent performance. Sure, they are maybe lacking this sort of powerhouse that some of, or most of the teams that are remaining in the tournament have, like people like Silly Fanger, Suzuka, Chiwi, Lost School. But still, a double 98.5 plus is very good on this map. Against Thailand though, who's arguably the best LN team of the tournament, then that's not going to be enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, somehow all 4 players managed to combo through all those very awkward Salem column bursts, and there goes Lost School with the full combo. So Mitsuki also dropped there, so no full combos left on the board. Unfortunate there at the very end of the map, but when all is said and done, Thailand's going to be able to hold on here with a very healthy margin of victory, and they're going to be able to go up 5-1 now.
I intentionally did not say a word about Lost School throughout the entire match. I was just seeing the accuracy and being happy. But no, he had to miss at the end, unfortunately. It's going to be a win for Thailand regardless. I don't think he minds all that much.
No, a W is a W. That's all that matters.
A W is a W, exactly. In 19-200s, a single miss and another 986,000 points.
Consistency. And consistency is what you want in matchups like this, where scores are starting to vary wildly. You want somebody that can put up performances like that round after round, regardless of the map being picked. Oh my goodness. And Chile with it all to do right now. I mean, the Rice hasn't been going all that spectacularly. The hybrids haven't been touched. I mean, do you chance something in the hybrid pool
I
to
mean,
maybe throw a bit of a curveball here?
I guess Mushi would be the one I go for, but like Nigaludi is really hard along the lines too, so I wouldn't expect Chile to get anywhere close to that. I think they just stick to Rise and pray for the best here. Robert?
Robert?
I think Robert is probably fine.
Robert feels like a bit of a Hail Mary here. But, I mean, you're gonna have to pick something that might not be in your comfort zone. Because if it's not in your comfort zone, it might not be in your opponent's comfort zone. It looks like it's gonna be Revixie.
Alright, just going for more tunnel vision, core stream denser ones for a pick here. I don't think this is a bad pick for Chile at all. It's just that considering these glimpse of ending we had in Shouldn't, this density increasing and Gonzalo struggling, maybe we just don't see Gonzalo on this pick instead. Or maybe we do, and it's a matter of like getting used or like transitioning from a low density to a high density. That's the problem. But if the density just stays the same throughout the entire chart, and you understand that every time you see like a big core, that big core are 4 nodes, and you can read it maybe like more horizontally and therefore be able to hit it fine. I can see that were being the case as well for Gonzalo. Maybe it was just a matter of surprise factor or just like inconsistency throughout the chart factor. We'll see if with Revix it's not the case and he can perform well.
Yeah, definitely gonna need to see a top tier performance out of both Gonzalo and Scalum here if they want to wrestle a point away from Thailand, who definitely have a bit of an authority right now on this match. Remains to be seen though. We are loaded into the map, and right now scores are pretty even across the board right now. As we get into the second quarter of the map, everybody holding up above that 99.7. Gonzalo lagging a little bit behind, but as long as they hold on to the combo, and there goes Scalum with his full combo now gone. Gonna be able to give Thailand a very early advantage here. But on picks as dense as this, recovery is very, very easy. That being said, it's very easy to miss. And right as I say, Gonzalo does drop, and that's not going to help matters for Chile right now as Thailand grow their advantage going into the second third of the map.
We're gonna get introduced to a very new exciting sound or something.
Oh boy. And this... do have a bit of a slow jam here.
Yeah.
Last third of the map. Thailand still with the lead here, but it is a little fragile if we start seeing some breaks, but both of them holding on to their full combos. Not gonna leave the door open for Chile to make any inroads into this advantage. But the Chileans have recovered very well here, 99.5 and 99.5 apiece. Definitely within striking distance.
Very close, really. And it's just a matter of whether they can hold their ground throughout the entire last quarter of the song here. And if it is anything like the map they won, they might just clutch it at the end with a couple misses from Thailand. If they want to aim for that, they need to hold this combo. They cannot afford to drop a single more time. And even then, they still need to pray for some misses.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that'll be happening.
Double FC though, that's really good.
Yeah, with Gonzalo dropping both of them. Oh boy, the door has shut rather abruptly on that potential comeback. I mean, they were definitely within striking distance of taking advantage of any misses from Thailand, but 2 full combos from Thailand will make that an impossible task as they move on to match point now, 6-1.
Double FC there, that's a performance from Thailand. Again, arguably one of the easier sided picks, but I mean, even in the easier picks, just getting a double full combo is not something you see often. In fact, I don't think we saw any in the previous match where we saw a 2-way FC from a single team. Right, maybe Japan got one, but I don't remember exactly. And again, performances by Chile were both pretty good. It's
Very
just
good.
that, again, against the double FC, there's not much you can do. That's a 991 here for Law School as well. So
Yeah, sometimes you just have to go into the lobby chat, just type in close. Because, I mean,
because that's just what it was.
it was close, yeah. I mean, there's not much you can do when your opponent is performing at the level that Thailand is. And it looks like Thailand's going to be wanting to put a nice little bow on this match, going for LN2 here.
The scariest part about Thailand, right? They are extremely predictable. You know, they're just gonna sauce all the long note picks, and they don't mind if it is like release-oriented, coordination-oriented, or denser, the fastest one, the slowest one. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they just gonna beat you on LS. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
And for Rise, you're Chile or any team, and you're like, well, core jacks is kind of a thing we could take, but then again, if we go for a delay stream chart, we might struggle a little bit. For Thailand, it doesn't matter. It's super easy for them. They just pick a lens. They just pick a lens and they win.
Just pick a lens.
Just pick a lens forehead.
Yes, and it looks like in that lobby chat, Gonzalo was urging Thailand to pick Rice. Not gonna be the case here. We are loaded into LN2. Faz tagging in for Gonzalo here. Chile backs against the wall. Gonna have to pull off quite a bit of a hefty comeback to stay in this match and stay in this tournament here.
If we get this, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
This is more on the side of density, more like LN Stream E patterns for the most part. So again, I expect Skyrim to do reasonably well on this, comparatively to the other long we saw in the past. Then again, I expect Law School to be doing even better than what we used to see, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, if you will.
Yeah, and as we get into the second quarter of the map, Faz dropping his full combo, and right now both Thailand players have a near full % advantage over their Chilean counterparts here. That's going to be helping the lead here, about 14,000 as we get into this tiny little break section.
The map is fairly long too, so that difference, even though it doesn't look as big as we normally like, if you have a 2-minute song with a 14k lead, a couple misses and it's over, you can easily drop that lead. But in the case of a map that is this long, 3 minutes and a half, then the difference is harder to recover from, because each miss weighs less as the no count.
And as we get into the second third of the map, Faz does find another drop in this transition into the back half of the map. And right now, with Thailand holding on to the full combos, I mean, gonna need quite a couple of drops here. But based on the way the match has been going, Thailand haven't been dropping quite anything, really. No real room for Chile to make any dent in this Thai roster. Law School and Miski just holding it down so far this entire match.
There was this one miss by Miski not so long ago, but again, it's not gonna matter all too much so long as they can keep these accuracies together. And for the most part, just Law School still being Law School, then they have it on the bag. And this is match point 2. Like, Chile's fighting for the tournament lives here, and there isn't much light on the path, unfortunately, for them. At least it doesn't look like.
No, definitely last chance saloon here as we get into the last third of the map. 98 for Chile, 99s for Thailand. I mean, if it wasn't the combos, it's definitely the accuracy here, giving Thailand quite a hefty advantage, 30,000 points as we get into the last quarter. And we're going to need to see some drops from Thailand, but Chile are the ones finding the drops here. And I mean, that might just be the final nail in the coffin. Scallum dropping one last time, and oh boy, a hardy performance. But oh, but Minsky's finding quite a couple of drops here. The density does pick up a bit here towards the end, but I feel like they've built up quite a big enough buffer to where that might not matter. But I mean, a couple more mysteries from Minsky there. But there might not be enough map.
You could see Minsky dropping enough. Yes, he struggled quite hard really in that last section. That's going to cost him a lot of points. But then Law School is just 30k ahead of literally everybody else, so the drop needs to be like twice as big compared to what we saw from Minsky, and that's just not going to happen. And at this ending, Chile's just straight up collapsing. all over the place are the misses we're seeing from the South Americans. And at the end of the day, it is Thailand who reigns supreme 7-1. Here, 60,000 points of difference. Another full combo by Law School. Actually, the lowest score he got, 985. Let's go.
Oh my
But then
goodness,
again, that was just a completely insane and out of this world performance by Law School. And just in general, Thailand did extremely well.
yeah, credit to Chile for putting up a bit of a fight there, taking a point away from Thailand, avoiding the sweep there. But at the end of the day, Thailand do take this one 7-1 here.
Yes, sir. 7-1 after all. The struggles of Chile, they had a couple picks where they were closer, mostly on the right side of things. But again, that's just a story of a team that is so much stronger than anybody else on Lognos. You know, you're essentially entering the match with a 4-point deficit. That's just how it is. Like against Thailand, you know the 4 Olympics, you ban one of them, and you know they are gonna be most likely taking all of them. And I don't think it was any sort of close between them in the long department. It was just the rise where Chile had some chances. They got their clutch victory. They avoided the sweep successfully. But at the end of the day, I think the better team advanced to the next stage here, facing the winner of Canada and Spain. But again, that being said, Chile definitely a respectful team. Did incredibly well after taking down Taiwan, losing against Indonesia in a very tricky matchup. That's going to be the end of the tournament live here, and we'll have to see them hopefully next year.
Yep, definitely should be proud of their performances this tournament. And coming up, we have quite the exciting matchup here. Canada going up against Spain in about 20 minutes. Don't want to miss that.
Yeah, I think for the losers bracket, this is potentially the one that's going to be the closest. I'll give the upper hand to Spain, but really could be wrong. Like, this is a match that can go anywhere. So, if you have some time to reserve, of course I will reserve some time for Korea and Philippines. If you happen to be around, of course. 10 UTC is an odd time, to say the least. At least for we Western people, right?
Yep.
But if you have the time, that's a winners bracket you definitely do not want to miss either. Canada and Spain, it's only 18 minutes away. Come on, you can make the effort and stay around. Watch this. This is going to be a great match.
Yep, grab some water, stretch your legs, stretch those arms, maybe play some OS in the meantime. We'll see you guys then.
Fitting that we get to hear and listen for the final match of the block, the Solace of Oblivion. Oh boy, isn't it fitting that for the closest match, or at least in paper, of this block between Canada and Spain of the 7-Key Mania World Cup 2022 to have such a hype just straight out of the gates. Once again, we're having the same duo as the previous one. Sparky joining me. Hello, Sparky again.
Hello.
Got some water?
Yep, got my water. Excited for what is hopefully going to be a very, very electrifying matchup. Two very, very close teams on paper.
Yep, the last European hope and technically the last North American hope, isn't it? One of the two are getting eliminated here, and not sure what it's gonna be. I honestly think that Spain has the slight upper hand, mostly off of tournament experience, but Canada has been doing so well too, so it's weird, it's hard.
Yeah, definitely going to be a true test of who can maintain their composure going into these picks, going into these maps. Spain losing a very close matchup to get knocked into the losers bracket, and Canada doing very well to knock off teams like Brazil and etc. To make it this far. But I mean, it's unfortunate that we're gonna have to say goodbye to one of these two teams at the end of this block. These are two very exciting teams with two very, very, very diverse lineups.
Kind of a banning already, and they get rid of 3 in the Sea of Sparks, which makes sense really. It's the fastest map in the pool, so for them to get rid of the most physically demanding chart, probably on the Rise pick, makes a lot of sense to me. On the other hand, Spain, not so sure what Spain wants to get rid of here. Like,
I feel
they could go for a weird pick, like, I don't really expect it to go for Rocket, but maybe getting rid of Snowy would be fine.
Yeah, I could see them banning an LN pick. I think Canada has been showing some proficiency on the lower half of the map pools so far this tournament. So LN1, I mean any of the LN picks would be fine. Maybe the more coordination based ones might be on the chopping block. I mean that, or we could see the hybrids. The hybrids have been pretty ignored so far this round. But it remains to be seen. They're taking their time with this ban. Want to make sure they get it absolutely correct. It becomes a question of, do you ban what you're least comfortable on? It looks like it's going to be Hybrid 2.
Alright, that's a ban we don't see very often.
I don't even think it's been picked yet. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we've seen Hybrid 2 come out, so still waiting its debut as far as I'm aware.
Definitely not on this block, that's for sure.
At least for this block. And it looks like Spain's gonna have the first pick here. Could see... Oh boy, what do you go for to open it up?
Sure, a pretty standard pick to open up the gates here is gonna be Reviax, I think, or also Shuden. Both are like your standard, like if you have to compare this on Forky, this will be like the jump stream options, which are, if you're the Rise team, Those are like your ones. Oh, well, core jacks as well. That was like my second guess. If Spain can hold on their niche of core jacking, then Jasmine T-Girl definitely makes some sense. I think we had enough Solace of Oblivion right now, and the song is gonna start. We should be getting ready for Jasmine T-Girl.
Yep, and we'll see which players decide to contest this pick. It looks like we're gonna see Mr. Mu and Nuno Taba going up against Lelpop and Aitor. Be very interesting, unless we see some last second substitutions. You want to make sure the lineup's absolutely correct, especially on this first pick.
I'm seeing a lot of Aitor 98 supremacy on the chat. I wouldn't necessarily contest that argument. I like Aitor, he's a friend of mine from a long time already. I want to not be biased on this match, but I certainly do want Spain to be the winners. But I'll just want a close match, a good match. That's all I need.
Yeah, that's all we could ever hope for. Just a very close matchup, some back and forth, some exciting moments. And it looks like... Oh, I said Lelpop with a full confidence as if though he were a Spanish player. He's actually for Team Canada. He was gonna take over Nuno Taba's spot.
Yes, that is correct.
I just got so into it. I wanted to see it was gonna be a 3 against 1.
In fact, it's the captain of the team, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Lelpop.
Oh boy. And it looks like we are gonna see Crew K Fanboy come in here for Spain, pairing up with Aitor. And I mean,
we had a Lotus Swanger, a Crew K Fanboy. What's next?
ooh. It remains to be seen. I can't think of somebody off the top of my head. But it looks like half the lobby is loaded in here. Wait for Bancho to sync everything up. And it looks like, here we go. First map of this final match of this block. Canada going up against Spain. Be very interesting to see if Spain can start off on the right foot here.
Oh, that's true. We're missing a My Angel something. Someone on the chat mentioned that. Oh, Crew K Fanboy is not having a good time on this core jack pick at all. Damn.
Yeah, very easy to misplace the fingers on some of these patterns, but Aitor and Mr. Mu follow close behind on the misses, and it looks like Lelpop's gonna follow also. All the full combos are gone here, but with Crew K having a bit of a struggle here going into the second third of the map, it's gonna give Canada quite a healthy advantage very early on in this pick.
I am starting to understand the reason behind this pick. I believe this was a targeted pick rather than necessarily playing to the Spanish strengths here. As we can see, Canada is struggling quite a bit here. A lot of misses across the two of the plays. Oh, that was a big act drop as well from Mr. Mu here. And Crew K Fanboy had a rough start, but now starting to get back into track. But as the core jacks get a little bit denser, he's gonna find some misses. And so is Aitor, in fact. Probably an incredible accuracy, but that's not going to be enough. They need to hold this combo a little bit longer if they want to make any sort of difference. And
yeah, but with Canada finding a couple drops, just nobody seems to want to hold on to the combo right now, and Canada, that lead is dwindling just a little bit. A couple of untimely misses from Lelpop, followed by Mr. Mu, but the trades right now only helping Canada in this regard. Aitor dropping yet again as we transition back into this last eighth of the map. And it looks like Canada, unless there's another couple of trades. Oh, that extra miss from Crew K Fanboy might just be enough. Lelpop needs to hold here, but he does drop, and there's still time for...
We've seen clutches like this in this map before, but I don't think we have enough time here. The gap is very close, but what's left is just further. There's no way a miss happens here. And it's gonna be a breakpoint to start it off. 4K difference in favor of the Canadians.
Ooh, boy. Oh boy, if all the maps are going to be like this, where players are just trading misses back and forth, I think we are in for a bit of a show here. And Canada takes that early breakpoint, going up 1-0, and now it's them to decide what they want to go with first. Would not be surprised if we saw an LN pick come out. That being said, the question is which one? The entire LN pool is untouched.
Might go for time for the Moon Knight, but no, they're going for Snowy. Okay, sure, fair enough.
I was saying that Spain should have maybe considered banning this, but with that being said, Canada resting their hat on the LN picks has been a trend so far this tournament. See if it works out for them here. Nunataba tagging in for Lelpop. That seems to be the comfort LN roster for Canada. See if Spain makes any substitutions in turn.
I would expect Rookie Fanboy to be swapped here, but perhaps I'm proven wrong here. This pick is particular, again, very unorthodox style, I'll say, of mapping here. Very tricky coordination required to play this kind of map. Seems like we are getting Crooked Fanboy regardless of my predictions. And again, very heavy on the coordination side. Some of the releases are very hard to understand, or not necessarily understand, but to read in an efficient way, I think would be the best way to call the difficulty of this map, because you don't have, again, so many visual cues. You don't have like sort of linear patterns of releases. They are disjoint for the most part, and hold 3 nodes while doing all that. That's essentially the map.
Yeah, definitely a true test of coordination, and it'll be very interesting to see if Spain can answer back after losing that first breakpoint. So far, so good though. Everybody managing to make it to that combo cap, and as I said, Aitor does find the first drop for Spain. Gonna give Canada a bit of an advantage here, not by too much, definitely still within striking distance. It's still very early on in the map.
You could use the color of the columns, you're using column colors, of course, to somewhat spot some of the releases here. If you see, most of the releases that are on the same timing, they are on the same column color, right? They are either pink or white for the most part, and that's literally all you get. Other than that, it has to be just your reading capabilities. And as it stands right now, Canada seems to be having that upper hand on the reading department, mostly off the back of Mr. Moon, who is currently holding 99.25, the highest one.
Highest accuracy and the only full combo left in the lobby. Kruke and Aitor did drop, followed by Nunotaba. As we get into the back half of the map, it does get a lot trickier. Maybe not super dense, but definitely want to make sure your fingers are steady getting into the last third. Bit of a break here, and a break for Kruke and Aitor. Not going to help matters for Spain here. The lead going to grow for Canada as we get into the last third of the map.
Quarter remaining. Mr. Moo gets the miss though. That was an important one, but immediately traded off by Crooked Fanboy. And even though the accuracies are not that much in favor of Canada, it might be a 0.4% ahead, and that can easily be salvageable if it's only the accuracy. But considering the amount of misses Spain has compared to Canada right now, it would be very hard for them to make a comeback here of any sort.
Yeah, with Mr. Mu finding a couple drops here towards the end, Nunotaba trading it. Also, there's still quite a bit of a map. If Spain can hold on here, the lead is shifting tiny bit, but I don't think there's enough map left. No, there was not enough map left. If those misses had come just a tiny bit sooner, Spain might have had a chance, but oh boy. Don't want to be dropping towards the end, but Canada manages to hold on, take it 2-0 now. Spain to pick next.
Well, that's a dream start for Canada here. I was honestly giving Spain the upper hand on especially at the early stages of this match, where you would expect to see the most comfortable picks out of both of the teams. So it's a bit of a surprise to me to see Canada coming on top here. But again, this is just the beginning. Spain will get to pick now. We'll have to see they have some sort of chances, right? We saw them playing the core jack pick, and even though it's a rise oriented pick, it is somewhat differently structured than your average or normal map in general. So after this pick, which I expected to be Revix, maybe shouldn't, but almost certainly Revix, we will get to see how close this match is really going to be, I think.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to start saying Revixy might be the pick for Spain here, just based on their comfort levels and how that core jack pick went. But it remains to be seen, and it looks like it is going to be Revixy. Bit of a premonition there. See if it works out for them.
The good old Claymores.
It looks like its rewind time has defected to Spain in the lobby before being ceremoniously whisked away to join his Canadian counterpart with Mr. Moo. And it looks like not PX is going to be tagging in for Spain.
Yep, not PX being the replacement here for Cookie. Fanboy matching most of a more consistent player than Summit for the most part, and in a map like this where consistency is key and it's all about mostly accuracy, that is the kind of player you want to see. I expect Aitor to completely and utterly destroy this map, but hopefully I didn't jinx it.
Hopefully that message got lost in transit and he did not hear you. As we load into this map, let's see if Spain can wrestle a point back from Canada, put the brooms away early. As we get into it, Aitor with that 99.8, very high accuracy compared to the rest of the lobby, but he does find the first drop there. I was the one to handle the curse there. As Mr. Moo, 99.8, 99.4 for his counterpart, its rewind time. Gonna be taking a bit of a lead here as we get into the second quarter of the map.
In these kinds of maps, you don't want to see misses, and especially you don't want to see them at the middle of the chart here. Miss early for Aitor, sure it's gonna hurt, but it could have been worse. I think the earlier you get the misses, the more time you have to regain your composure. And even with a miss here, it seems like Spain is starting to edge away, right? They're pulling ahead regardless, just on accuracy alone. It's rewind time having the problem here. 99% is the accuracy he's holding, a little bit lower than their Spanish counterparts. And that's the reason why it's phenomenal.
Yep, and as we get into the back half of the map, gonna take some time, bit of a break section here, regain some accuracy, see if he can make some inroads into this deficit. Spain, like you said, pulling ahead just based on the accuracy alone, despite Aitor with that early miss, has climbed ahead of everybody in the lobby here.
Now into a little bit of a calmer section with some tricky snaps. I mean, not necessarily hard, but different to the tunnel vision 1/4 that you're used to seeing this kind of picks. And as the song starts to pick up once more, we're entering the last quarter where the density gets ever so slightly harder. And right here is when we're gonna see Spain has what it takes to hold their combo. They will take this, but it is Canada the one that collapses. Mr. Moo and Rewind Time both missing at the exact same spot, and at this point, this is getting a bit too harsh, even for either to drop now, but a trade immediately occurs as Rewind Time misses once more. And it's not the X, the consistent player, as I was talking before, being the key for Spain here to keep this advantage. And as Canada struggles and struggles to keep this up, they will be dropping the first point of the match after a very impressive performance here by Not the X, the full combo, and backed up by amazing accuracy by Aitor, 99.6. Very well played here by the Europeans. 13 200s and 23 for Aitor and Not PX respectfully, yeah, or what is happening with my English? Respectively? Yes, respectively. That was the word.
You know what the crazy part is?
The ratio.
Despite
yes.
the ratio, despite not PX full comboing that entire map, Aitor finishes with the highest score in the lobby, 980,000, and its performances like that, despite the misses, they were so clean that, I mean, what could you have done if you were Canada? Those misses at the end, definitely a bit of a collapse there towards the end, but I mean, that was Spain's pick, so I mean, just brush it off. You're still in the lead 2-1 now, with your pick coming up, so let's see what Canada decides to answer back with.
Well, that is one way for Spain to get back into the game now. They need to get a break point. That's the hard part, right? The first part that was the easier one. Get your own pick sorted out. They won Revixie, and that's a good start. But at some point they'll need a break point. If they don't get a break point, Canada's just gonna win. Alright, 7-5 and GG. Everything is good for the North Americans. At some point, Canada's gonna run out of picks though, because they are going for Violet Perfume, and they got 3 more picks. If they win the 4 less remaining, and that's counting this, they will be at 6, and that is the point that Spain, I think, has to aim for a break. Otherwise, they need to win a long no pick, of course. But under the assumption that Canada has the upper hand on the lens, then Spain cannot really afford to drop any sort of picks anymore, and they need to find that clutch breakpoint at the end of the matchup.
Man, you make it sound so easy, man. If all the matches went like that, we could just pack it up and go home right now.
Of course, it's not that easy. You know what I mean.
You got to perform. So it remains to be seen if Canada can maintain the composure on these LN picks. Definitely, sticking with the coordination style of picks. They went from Snowy, now they're going to Violet Perfume. Let's see how they do here. Looks like Not PX is going to stay in for Spain, and Nuno Taba coming back in for Canada.
And this pick again, similar to Snowy, as you said, the Snowy was only 16,000 points of difference. That it wasn't that much in favor of Canada, although 16,000 is a respectable difference already. This map has the different intricacy of being not necessarily more release oriented, but rather more finger coordination that the other LN release pick we saw before, Snowy. And this one you have this flow. It is a bit more flowy pattern wise, but then you have to coordinate the holds more so than the releases, because you need to hold notes throughout the entire durations of all the longs that you press in the middle, and that can be very tricky. And of course you get this southern and minor inverse sections that can definitely be a bit tricky, as you see Not PX being the first one to drop in the entire lobby just in that part.
Yeah, Not PX riding the struggle bus a little bit. 98.1, the lowest accuracy in the lobby. Definitely finding those LNs to be rather tricky as we get into the last third of the map. Nuno Taba breaks on the right section. Not really where you expect players to drop, but I mean, when you're focusing so hard on these LNs, sometimes even the easiest bits of rice become the hardest things in the world, as he does drop yet again. But right now, that deficit that Not PX has had so far throughout this entire map, buoying Canada's advantage right now as we get into the last eighth of the map. And it looks like Canada's going to be able to hold on here. Mr. Moo and Aitor holding onto the full combos, but it's really just in the bottom half of the lobby where we see the differences.
As you say, that swap, that switch of mentality going from heavy long nose into minor rise seems to be a bit of a struggle for Nuno Taba, but that's not going to be enough regardless. That's 9-200s, by the way, by Mr. Moo. That's a really solid score. Either not that much behind with a 982, only 1,000 points of difference between the two top performers on each team. It's just that Nuno had this upper hand against Not PX, who arguably is not like a main long no player, and that's completely understandable. He did really well on the rise. But this thing that you brought up, right? This swap, this switch between the rise and the long nose could be a signal for Spain that maybe on the high risk they have a better chance. And I'm thinking specifically about Mushi no Sumu to be the pick that Spain might be forced to make at some point if they feel uncomfortable winning of the rise remaining. I think that could be a good out if they need it. It should be on the back of their heads. At this point, I would expect them just to go for shoot and just keep playing the consistency game without many difficulties. Although Sparks might also be a considerable choice.
Yeah, there's definitely avenues for Spain to keep themselves in this match, and as they try and vie for that right pick for Canada to come out, for them to be able to maybe snap up breakpoint. Oh, and they're gonna go for Robert here. Very interesting pick here. Definitely an order of magnitude harder than some of the other rice picks in this pool, but I mean, if they feel like they're comfortable on something as techy as this, I mean, more power to them.
Of course, I mean, I was expecting this pick to come out at some point. I feel this is maybe a little bit early, but again, Spain definitely knows their scores better than I do, so I hope this pick is a surprise for people. Like, if you have a good score on Robert and you pull it out early, I think at the very least you're gonna throw off your opponent, right? If you have a good score, then you want the opponent to be thrown off by the pick, right? So if you surprise, my theory is that if you surprise an opponent with a pick, they might not perform as well, right? Because you are not mentally prepared to go into something like this so early.
Yeah, and
perhaps
it's
it also
just
plays in the favor.
it's just such a different pick compared to what's been played so far. I mean, we've had conventional LN, we've had conventional Rice, quote unquote, and we're going into what is arguably the roughest map in this pool. Definitely not a chart to be trifled with if you're not prepared. But I mean, players of this caliber, you expect some pretty good performances. It remains to be seen. Let's see what happens here. Looks like we have the Rice lineups for both teams, Lelpop and Crew K coming in for their respective countries, and both of them finding very early misses.
I don't blame this intro, especially the very start of the map is very hard to hit, especially because it's just so sudden. Now you don't really have much time to get into the tempo or prepare. It just straight up attacks. That's what the map does. And on the mini jacks we start to see Idol struggle a little bit. 2K Fimo now being the one holding the highest accuracy in the entire lobby. That's giving the upper hand to Spain, mostly off the back of the misses from Lelpop here, who's holding a 98% now, and another one. Those drills are just nasty, man.
Yeah, this is a very abrasive map, and like you said, this is very aggressive. I think aggressive is the right word if a map can be dubbed as such, as players are just trading misses left and right. All these trades right now in favor of Spain, though. Aitor holding the highest combo and I believe the highest accuracy. No, that would be for Mr. Mu, but I mean, accuracy kind of goes out the window. It's just try to survive, try to hold on to the combo, getting full credit for the notes you are hitting. And that's going to be helping Spain here. Both their players above that 400 combo cap. Only one for Canada. And I mean, there's still plenty of map. There's still a lot of tricks in store for this map to really throw players off their game. As we see more trades of misses between Aitor, Lelpop, and Mr. Mu.
Everything on this map is evil, like evil, pure evil. Changing, going really hard on all these patterns. Those flanks again are super tricky to hit, but in general, just all these staircases and the trails, like this section is arguably one of the easiest because of how like light it is. But all the snaps are just all over the place. They are not all just simple 1-8 or 1-6. They're just swapping back and forth between different time signatures, and that makes it so much harder. Now into some denser streams as well. This map just has a bit of everything, and it gets really fast and really dense really quick. And this is where Spain starts to collapse a little bit. Not sure if it's gonna be big enough for Mr. Mu to capitalize off of this difference, but then again, Spain is missing quite often now.
Yeah, and Lelpop does drop right before that 400 combo cap, but Mr. Mu with the highest combo in the lobby, 1200 now, and he does drop, so that's gonna help Spain here in the grand scheme of things. It was looking a little dicey there in the transition into the back half of the map for Spain, but it looks like right now the struggles from both teams right now playing in favor of Spain. These Grace Note stair patterns are just absolutely horrendous to play through. It's incredible that all the players are still holding on to an S. Getting into the very end of this map, and it looks like Spain's gonna be able to hold on here, barring any last second collapses from them, but it looks like Canada's gonna be the one finding the drops here as we get into the last sliver of map. And I think this lead is a little bit too insurmountable now.
Yeah,
as Spain pick up there.
That was a 45k lead after all. That was a big win.
Yeah.
Krugi Fanboy actually holding the better score. That's a. I mean, I don't want to say it's a first. Probably a first on this matchup specifically, but damn.
Those are some really good performances. Oh my goodness. And Spain, 3-2. I mean, they still need that break point. And it's gotta come. I mean, they still have plenty of time. I was about to say it's gotta come soon, but
I gotta give credit to the Spanish team here for picking this early into Robert, because like Lelpop subbed in for this one, right? He was not playing the previous map. That gives him time to prepare a pick, and I imagine he was probably practicing Shooten or maybe Sparks, like the picks you would normally expect. And I think Roberts is one of those maps that if you play maybe like once or twice, especially the intro, before you get into the match, you have a bit of an upper hand. So picking this early into Robert probably avoided that minor advantage that Canada could have if they picked this at that like a last resort pick, because they were expecting it. I think the surprise factor actually played a bit of a part here. Although a 45k lead, I don't think just the intro is gonna carry through that 45,000 points of difference, but it definitely helped.
Yeah, definitely played to Spain's advantage there, like you've been saying. The unconventionalness of the timing maybe playing a factor in determining that win there. But with that being said, it is Canada's pick here. It looks like they're going to go straight back to the LNs, coming in for time for the Moon Knight, and we're going to probably see the LN roster for Canada come out on Mr. Moon Nunataba, holding it down on the LNs. And right now the players make sure they're ready. Aitor did ask in the lobby if there was technical timeouts. So maybe a bit of a keyboard issue that he wants to get sorted, but you can only call timeouts on your own pick, so might have to tank this pick. Just hold on, make sure he can survive long enough so he can take care of whatever the Spanish team needs to take care of. But the players are ready. We're going to be loading into this 6th pick now.
I argue that Spain might want to go for hybrid 3 as their option for a break. Well, not necessarily for a break, but for a pick if everything goes wrong and they're not feeling comfortable with the rise. But if they want to aim for the breakpoint, I think this is the long no pick that they have the better chance. The longers are pretty straightforward. They're pretty simple for the most part until you hit the key eyes. And the key eyes, they get, again, very dense sweeps, very tricky sweeps in general. So those patterns are easy to miss, regardless of your long no abilities. Unless your name is Lost School, they are pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I can see Canada struggling on those. Maybe, I mean, column locks are not really a thing anymore, but like misreading one of those sweeps can easily cause you a couple misses and very big amounts of bad judgments. So if Spain can somewhat not get too much damage out of that sections, then they might have a chance to win this. I'm seeing some complaints, not necessarily complaints, but comments on the chat about Aitor's struggling a little bit with his wrist, which is maybe the reason why they were requesting the timeout to begin with. And that's understandable. Aitor has been such a veteran right now. He has like a million years of experience on his back already. And at some point, you unfortunately with this game tend to develop hand issues if you don't like properly take care of them.
Yeah, definitely a lesson in preventative maintenance with regards to your hands. Make sure if you feel any pains, please take a break. And Crew K is going to be taking a break there as we get into the second quarter of the map. Gonna give the lead back over to Canada. Spain was doing very well to hang on to the early advantage, but right now gonna be riding a bit of the struggle bus here on Mr. Mu, trading the miss back though. And it looks like it's gonna be Aitor and Nunataba duking it out, holding on to the full combos in the lobby.
Difference is very minor, as you can see. It's about 2,000 points of difference, but we're still, well, we technically entered one of the harder sections here, but we still didn't get into the hardest bits of the map.
Yeah, and as we get into the second half of the map, Spain's going to be able to take this lead back just based on the accuracy alone. Nunataba dropping, that's huge right now for Canada. Not what you want to see if you are a Canadian fan, as Mr. Mu falls close behind Spain. Oh boy, they needed a break point. This might be their opportunity to strike back and tie this match up. There's still half the map remaining, but if you're a Spanish fan, this is boding very well now. Aitor with the only full combo left in the lobby, despite the wrist issues he might be having.
Break point on longness will be so important for Spain too, because they don't have to wait out for a potential hybrid pick to be the main difference maker. Also, a breakpoint this early gives them some breathing room as well, and now we're entering into the last difficult section in just a moment. The last third of the map gets very rough, and when we start seeing those last couple of sweeps, that is when we're going to see if Spain can finally take this breakpoint or not. And here we go. Mu and Nunataba are actually the ones that draw, but Aitor and Crew K just both holding through. And this lead is just going to grow harder and bigger in the last reversions. This is the last tricky section of the map, and if they hold it, just get it.
Oh boy, last quarter of the map, and right now the lead is about 20,000. Still surmountable. This is a very fragile lead right now for Spain. Have to do very well to hold on to their combos. The accuracies, I mean, Aitor highest accuracy in the lobby. They might have a couple of misses banked, but you don't want to leave that opportunity there as Nuno Taba and Mr. Mu trade misses again. And the door is quickly closing on Canada's opportunity to get back in. Kruke does drop, but Aitor with that full combo is carrying right now. Any trades now only help Spain.
Mr. from Kruke are a bit big, but again the difference so is. And this score by Aitor is just such a clutch performance again. He was having wrist issues? Come on, don't joke like that. The guy's just crushing it. 99.46% full combo. On time for the Moonlight, Taba's having a bit of a connection issue. I think he DC'd. Maybe
that might be a sync issue.
Yeah, maybe decided to leave the match early and we don't get to see the score. But that's a 4,200 clean, perfect full combo. 982k. That's a score and a half by Aitor.
If there was ever a time to put on the carry pants and just drag the match back into your favor, that was the time to do it. And it is now 3-3. Spain tying it up, taking the break point away from Canada. And now, very importantly, they can take a break, call a timeout if they need to, give Aitor a bit of a break here.
And what a break point that was. Oh boy. 3-3 now, Spain on their own pick. And again, this was exactly what we were looking for. And as I said, this was the one LN pick. I saw Spain having some chances. I did not expect Aitor to do that well on it though. Like, that was a big factor and a big surprise too, I'll say, especially considering his condition.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be using their timeout this time to get some breathing room, some rest, some mental back. Which is kind of unfortunate, really, because if you think about it from a matchup perspective, this will be the perfect point to just go straight into a pick, like right out the gates. Use this momentum of the break point. Don't give up time for Canada to recompose themselves and just go. But again, your health is absolutely more important than that.
Absolutely. Definitely want to make sure you don't overforce yourself. I mean, your own physical health is way more important than momentum or anything in moments like this. And right now, gonna sort out a couple of issues, maybe take that time out. But I mean, Spain coming off of that break point, tying it up, very crucial. We had been talking about it after they had lost that Cord Jack pick. Gotta find a way back into this map. And I mean, Canada, I mean, they did really well on both coordination picks. It was just once the density picked up when they went for time for the Moon Knight that we saw a bit of a struggle there on things a bit denser, a bit faster in the LNs. So do you, if you're Canada, do you rethink the strategy a little bit? Maybe reconsider picking something like Goddish or WWW after Spain's next pick?
Honestly, I think if you're Canada, you might even be considering Nira Ludia. I honestly think it's a pretty good pick for them of the hybrids. But I'm thinking WWW is also a pretty good pick too. But in general, I think Nira Ludia is the closer one to snowy type of maps, right? This type of maps are more release, coordination oriented, more violet perfume-ish.
Do you think there are any rice picks that they would consider, or do you think that they'll just exist in that bottom half of the map pool? I mean, they're gonna have to play. I mean, Spain's going to pick rice against them. I mean, it's arguable which one they've left. I mean, you would think Schutten might be on the table for Spain to pick coming up next, but I mean, you still have Sparks, you still have Electromagnetic. Do you think they might be able to take?
I think Spain might want to avoid Electromagnetic for the most part, due to length mostly. Considering Aitor's with Spain, that's my main concern, really. Otherwise, I would think that Electromagnetic might be, in fact, a pretty decent pick for Spain specifically. I think the breakpoint chance for Canada will be Sparks of the Rice remaining picks. because it's relatively shorter, not so dense, and you can easily choke on it. I can see a world where Summit struggles a little bit in it, and if Iro doesn't have a great run on it, then Spain is looking like that pick is not too hard. Maybe Canada has a chance on it. But overall, I think Canada just gotta keep rolling with the strategy of long into hybrid or into long, or something along those lines is probably what they still want to do. They gotta pray for a breakpoint if they want to avoid tiebreaker. After all, like they can just still continue to go for the longness on the hybrids, win them, and force a tiebreaker. And in a tiebreaker scenario, then anything can happen really. I would expect Spain to have the better performance on either, but then considering the hybrid nature of a tiebreaker and how hard this one is specifically, then maybe Canada as a team has a higher potential score than what Spain has.
Yeah, absolutely, and it remains to be seen. I mean, we can theorize all we want about what the potential roads to a victory will be, but I mean, if everything plays out exactly how we think it is, where Canada wins their picks and Spain wins their picks, I mean, we're on a crash course for some tiebreakers. That does remain to be seen. I mean, with the way things have been going, it's very fragile. Like, just any bad picks, any mispicks, and just
especially this late in the match, right?
Yes, this is essentially now it's first to 7. Both teams have 3 points. It's basically first to 4. I think that's a best of 7.
Yeah, that would be a no,
yeah, best of 7.
4. Yeah, that's best of 7. That's correct.
So we're in a best of 7 now as we get into the back half of this match, and I mean, Spain 2 pick, and right now I'm pretty sure their little group chat is probably trying to figure out what the best course of action is here. Gotta make sure.
I would just go for shooting here, no doubts in my mind. I think after their Revixy performance, they should be fine with Shuden specifically. Actually, no, they're going for Mushi no Sumo. The hybrid I call to be the one giving the upper hand to Spain. Well, they're going for that. So
oh boy.
We're taking some time here, struggling with some technical difficulties in the background. So we apologize for that. But as soon as we get that sorted out, we should be back into the match, in the action. I can tell you this match though, they are currently playing, and they are playing Mushi no Sumo Tokoro. It's a fairly short pick, so maybe we don't get the chance to see it unless we get back in time, which doesn't look to be the case. This is a pretty big technical difficulty. It's not the usual one that you see that are like maybe 5 to 10 seconds. This is big, so again, we apologize for it.
Yeah, and it looks like we do have a result, and like you said, we were in Mushi no Sumo, and it looks like Spain has won that pick by 88,000 points. Aitor pulling out the 952 MVP performance in the lobby.
That's a huge win by Spain. Again, beating Canada on the hybrid Mushi no Sumo forces Canada essentially to just win all the longness remaining and pick into hybrid 1. That's the only hybrid they have available. And even though hybrid 1 technically favors Canada, then they don't have this option anymore. So they are essentially every single pick from here and into the end of the match. I think it's forced for Canada. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised about the performance here by Canada. I was expecting Spain to do better overall, but Mr. Mu specifically struggled quite hard on Mushi. 895,000 points, had 30 misses. So the ratio was pretty decent, but not as good as I expected, I think, like, score-wise.
Yeah, it might have been like the techie aspect of that map that might have been catching him out a little bit, coordinating the rice interspersed between the LNs on Hybrid 3. But it looks like they are sticking with the LNs here, going for WWW.
This only leaves Godish, right? In the long run.
Yes, it only leaves Godish, so
they gotta win this, they gotta win Godish, and they gotta win Hybrid 1. That's it. That's their only way.
I mean, we
Well,
say
I mean,
that they could,
break on Rise, of course.
Yeah.
But, like,
they could definitely
thing.
prove us wrong.
Spain still has 3 Rise picks to pick from, and they only need 2 to win. So
So
they at least
definitely,
have the choice, which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, because you can make the wrong choice. For Canada, you kind of don't have any. You always have to go for the things you have available.
yeah, it looks like going into this little bit of a break section, Aitor finding the first drop in the map, but they still hold on to the lead here, just based on accuracy. But Crew K Fanboy dropping is going to give Canada the lead back. Oh, and Spain not able to hold on to combo right now. Mr. Moon, it's rewind time. Holding on to their full combos as we get into the second quarter of the map. This one is a bit of a longer pick compared to what we've been seeing. So there's still time. There are a couple of breaks interspersed into this map where you just have a bit of a rice section, but then we go back into the LN density.
Entering the second third of the map here. This is mostly like the long sort of consistency pick. Like, it doesn't really have much of a spike of difficulty, and the longness are certainly intrusive, especially when you have Rise on top of it. But for the most part, it is a matter of consistency, how well versed you are with just hitting long nose in general. It doesn't have any particular skill set bias, and because of that, it seems like the all-roundedness of Aitor and overall the very solid performance from Crew K Fanboy throughout the entire match here are gonna overpower Canada here, and pretty convincingly, I would say.
Yeah, both Mr. Moon and It's Rewind Time dropping in as we enter the second half of the map. Crew K did trade it back, but Aitor doing very well to recover from that very early miss. Now highest combo in the lobby. Gonna be giving Spain a bit of an advantage here, and I mean, we wrote the script, but it doesn't seem like Spain wants to follow it right now as they hold on to the lead going into the last third of the map. All to play for right now, and if they get this breakpoint, this could be huge in determining the outcome of this match.
The
Bit of
gap
a break.
right now is about, what is it, 18,000 points? Maybe 15,000 points?
Not the
And-
biggest lead, but
It's a long map though, and the ending it gets a little bit harder here with the density spiking up a little bit. We have to see if that is enough for Spain to drop this lead. They're holding very comfortably with combos, although Canada recovered fairly well here, so perhaps a couple of misses from Spain can do it.
yeah, but right now we're only an eighth of the map left. Crew K does drop, but with Aitor still holding on strong for Spain, not going to give Canada a lot of room here. And I mean, they've been showing that they can handle these denser LN picks. Aitor finally does drop, but it's super late in the map, and that trade from Mr. Moo is not going to help Canada regain a foothold in this map. And I mean, Juan, we might be in for a Spanish breakpoint on an LN pick.
Is this the Spanish Inquisition?
Nobody
Because
expects it.
nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition or Longnose at the very least. I'll say that much. 99.5 Aitor. Again, with another stellar performance on the lens, 977,000 points. That is just our league above everybody else in this lobby. Everybody else is super close. And Canada overall, they had pretty consistent and better scores than Crew K. But in this pick, Aitor just makes the difference. And of course, Crew K is backing him off, and he's not far off of the rest. In fact, it's only about 6,000 points of difference. And it gives the room for Aitor to be Aitor and
Yeah.
have that difference-making potential. That
And immediately foot on the gas. They're gonna go for Shusen Nosaki, wanting to really put a stamp on this match. Take it to match point immediately. Oh boy, the tables have turned. Canada now needing the break point to hold on in this match.
they really do. At this point, like, Spain can win this, but if they do, then Canada is in a must-win scenario. They cannot afford to lose anything else. And Shuden is an odd pick. I think Spain is favored on this, mostly off the back of the consistency on OPX, which we saw manage to full combo the other core stream pick, the denser one. But again, the main difficulty and everything falls down just to that ending. We saw Gonzalo and Chile struggling in dropping the lead. We saw that on Brazil as well, if I recall correctly, where they had a pretty consistent run, and in the ending everything fell apart. And it will come down to that. If not PX can combo through that second, I think Spain should be fine, but then the accuracies are going to be super similar throughout the entire chart until that point.
Yeah, and if Canada has anything to say about it, I mean, if they can manage to hold on here, capitalize on any mistakes coming out from the Spanish roster, maybe this is a very, I don't want to say coin flippy pick, but when teams are this evenly balanced, I mean, anything can happen. It just comes down to who can maintain their composure long enough, who can keep the performance up till the very end of the map. And we are
get
loaded
to see a
in.
full combo. That's the thing here. I think whoever gets a full combo just wins this. And we're not getting a good start here for Canada. Moo seems to be drained a little bit of his stamina, I think. He started up the matchup very solidly, very strongly, but now seems to be dropping in very odd and specific places. Not PX also trading that miss, and his accuracy is a bit low, and Nitro now misses again. This is interesting. Because the accuracy on Melpomp is a bit too low, but he's still holding the combo.
Yeah, this might be a bit of a defensive battle. Lelpop maybe focusing more on holding onto the combo at the expense of the accuracy, as NotPX drops on this rather light section. Not the place you want to find annoying misses. We'll call them annoying misses. When you're focusing on trying to build back the accuracy, it's very easy to trip up, maybe fumble a little bit. But right now it looks like Canada, since they have the higher combos here, gonna be able to wrestle back some control on this map. Spain though, the accuracy, once they got back up to that combo cap, oh, but a double miss from Spain, traded by one player, Lelpop losing that full combo, but it looks like Spain's gonna be able to hold on here when all is said and done. Lelpop dropping again.
It's me, Lelpop is rushing a little bit. I think he got to do this a bit to the left, and that's causing him to drop a lot of accuracy. I don't think he's doing particularly poorly on anything. Oh, but they're just, oh god,
chain missing.
That was a huge chain miss for both of the Canadians. Essentially what happened to Spain earlier on, but now with accuracy and combo, Spain is just gonna run away with this.
Yeah, that being said, we still have the back half of the map to contend with, and you had been prefacing it. Earlier matches have shown that even though you have a lead going into the first half, the second half, you want to make sure you can hold on. Stamina becomes a bit of an issue here. Mr. Moo has been playing all of these picks. You might start to wonder if the finger control might be slipping, but it looks like NotPX and Ito, everybody, a full combo reset from the entire lobby. NotPX and Mr. Moo trading extra misses there, but in the grand scheme of things, these trades only help Spain here. As we get into the last quarter.
This is a bit too harsh, I think, for everyone to keep up with. Moo, the one who's supposed to be holding all together here, is not working, not functioning properly. Unfortunately, that's gonna cost Canada the pick here. I think with a better run on the second half, then Canada certainly had enough, I think. I feel at least. There were many misses by Spain at the very end, but they were so quickly equalized and traded by Canada that the accuracies are just so much better on the Spanish side. And if you trade misses against a team that has better act with you, it's not gonna work. And that's exactly what we're seeing. A win for Spain on Shooten, and now it's just match point. Look at this, 48 against 49 on Spain, and then 131 against 132 on Canada. They're both 1-200 off each.
That's crazy. I mean, the good thing is that it is Canada's pick, so they can at least make sure that they can pick something they're comfortable on. You start to wonder if maybe Canada might want to take a timeout here, maybe give Mr. Moo a bit of a break there. You could tell that struggle tiny bit on this pick. Might just be a case of fatigue setting in. And you would imagine Goddish has to be the pick.
I would honestly pick Nigaludia instead of Goddish here.
Oh,
I think it's safer. I think it's overall tests more coordination than what Goddish tests, and therefore Canada should have a better option. But
and that being
they're
said,
gonna go for Goddish.
I mean, they live by the LN, they're gonna die by the LN.
I mean, to be
All
fair,
five.
if you think it this way, they have to go for both anyway, right? Because if they want to get a tiebreaker, they need to win both. So
Yeah, they're gonna have
doesn't matter
to.
the other, right? That's it.
Oh, and you can tell Aitor's feeling it. He's asking if he can take those 2 minutes to ready up, the in-between time between the pick and readying up. But I mean, despite any pain he might be feeling, the scores aren't reflecting it. He has been putting up some monstrous performances so far this match, really being the rock for Spain. And it looks like we are going to see Kruke Fanboy tagging back in for Spain. Mr. Mu and Nuno Taba, I mean, the quintessential LN roster for Canada coming in. And it's backs against the wall time for Canada. You want to make sure that this pick goes as smoothly as possible. And then if you're Spain, I mean, you want to win every pick that's brought forth, but in the event that you do lose this pick and it does become 6-4, you start to wonder what the next pick might be. But it remains to be seen. Like I said, Aitor and Spain really taking their time. They want to make sure that the hands, the wrists are fully prepared. These maps are very challenging, very straining, and putting up performances like they have definitely takes a toll after a while. If you are watching and if you have had a very long play session, be sure to stretch those wrists. Alrighty, it looks like the players are ready. The 2 minutes have elapsed. So we're going to be getting into Goddess here. Make or break time for Canada. This is their pick, so you would hope that they're prepared for what is to come. As we wait for Nuno Taba to sink in. There we go.
I mean, they better be. This is a tournament point for them. If they don't win this map, they're out. They're knocked out of the tournament after a good run, honestly, all things considered. But the winner of this is waiting. Thailand is waiting for the winner of this, rather. And it might just be decided on this pick. We'll have to see. Will Canada get another chance, or will Spain seal the deal with a big streak of, I think, 5 consecutive points now that they won? Well, not a great start, I'll say that much for either. Neither for Kruke, who's holding a little bit of a lower accuracy, but this is just the beginning.
Yeah, these
Wild
LN
card
picks.
time.
Yeah, this is a bit out there in terms of LN patterning. Definitely a lot trickier than the rest of the LN pool, as Kruke does find a couple of chained misses back to back, but I mean, it still is very early on in the map. 3 minutes to contend with.
It's funny because this pick is like essentially you get all the 4 previous LN picks you played and you mix them all into a single map, and this is the result. Essentially, that's the type of pick. You have sweeps, they are mostly slow. They are somewhat inverse-likey, and then you have reversals. So essentially, it's like a bit of a mix of everything, and right now seems to Canada is holding the upper hand on this. The caveat of having all these mixed skill sets together is that they, for the most part, are easier to hit. They're not as physically demanding as all the LN picks could be, and that's honestly going to play on the favor of Canada, I feel, because the easier the map gets, the more their consistency gets to show. Their physical abilities don't get to their limits, and that is why they are right now leading the charge, because they are more technically well versed on the lens.
Yeah, that seems to be the perfect description of what Canada's LN strategy has been. As we get into the back half of the map, players trading misses back and forth, and I mean, I've been saying it before, these trades, in this case, helping out Canada here. You're going to be able to buffer the lead just a little bit, about 30,000 here, but all the full combos are gone now on Mr. Mu dropping. But you feel like it's going to take a little bit more than that to hand the lead back over to Spain, especially with Kruke struggling a little bit as we get into the last third of the map.
It is that accuracy difference? Maybe, I think, because Hakruke hold a better accuracy here, maybe a 98.5. I'm not asking for that much. In fact, he might have enough time to get to that level if he comes through the rest of the chart. Then Spain might have a chance, but then again, Mu hold a full combo for a very long time here, so they're gonna need a couple more misses, and they are finding them, at least on the Mu side here, traded by Kruke, but I think favors Spain after all, especially with the miss from Nuno Tava here. Combo cap only held by Aitor right now, the lead is shrinking, but there isn't much map left, and this lead is big enough for them to hold it, I believe.
Yeah, it would take a monumental collapse from Canada here, but Nunataba seems to be holding it down for Canada, and as I say that, they do drop, but it's going to take a couple more drops than that. I mean, the lead is shrinking, but they've built enough of a buffer. It's getting close.
It's getting dangerously close, but I think at this point there isn't much difficulty left other than those releases on the 3-note chords, and even with those, accuracy is not gonna make it alone. They'll need a couple more misses, and those are not happening. The lead keeps shrinking, but not to the rate that it was required for Spain to take over, and it is, after all, an 18,000 point lead for Canada. Better accuracy here for Aitor, and actually the best score, but again, this consistent Canadian roster, if you don't give enough buffer to Aitor to keep that distance and build that difference that he always does, then Canada as a team will counter that, and they are doing it, especially on the long note department. If they break this pick by Spain, which is crucial, this is arguably the most important pick of the entire match. If they can somehow break this, I think the chances for tiebreak are very high.
Absolutely, and I mean, there are two picks for Spain, arguably, that they can go for. It just depends on how confident they're feeling. You would imagine Sparks is the pick here. But
you
that
go for
means
the easierness of Spark in terms of density, but and the expense of a little of tech and a shorter map. When you go for electromagnetic, which in my opinion is the better option, really, but risking the stamina factor, especially for Aitor.
yeah, I mean, I think the important thing to realize here is, I think we said it very early on in the match, the fact that they went for Robert so early is paying dividends right now. Imagine if they had to pick Robert in this situation with Aitor's hand struggles. I mean, it becomes a very different story. And now that I think about it, I mean, electromagnetic starts to look a little bit better. Robert went very well for Spain, but they're going to go for Sparks here.
It is very rough for the wrist, I think. Electromagnetic is too long. It is very painful, and especially if you have this issue, especially with Roberts, with these patterns that you have to strain your wrist very much. Although Electro is not necessarily like that, the fact that it's so long and it mixes some patterns every now and then that can be tricky to hit, I can see that being a bit of an inconvenience for Spain, and specifically for Aitor. And if Kruke doesn't feel too hard and in shape to take the role of the MVP that actually he did on Robert, then Spike just makes more sense. And although they could choke this, they could definitely choke this and lose their own point, I think it's overall the safer options. And you have to consider though, this goes to tiebreaker. That's also no good news for either straight.
Yeah, that's very true. You want to avoid tiebreaker at all costs. You want to finish it here and now. And it looks like Lelpop's gonna be tagging in. They've had two separate rosters, one for the Rice, one for the LN. And it looks like Mr. Moo and Lelpop are gonna be the ones contesting. They gotta take this break point if they want to have any chance of taking this to tiebreaker and any chance of staying in this tournament. Spain's still on match point. At worst, Spain goes to tiebreaker here.
Oh my goodness. This is the last pick for Spain, regardless of what happens. They win it, they win the match. They lose it, it's Canada's pick, and in any case, we get to tiebreaker. I mean, before
that
Spain
or
pick.
Oh boy. Right now, Spain with a very early advantage, just based on the accuracy alone. Aitor, highest accuracy by a long shot in the lobby. Gonna be giving them a bit of a cushion here, but it's very fragile. Any drops could prove to be very detrimental in the grand scheme. I think this is not a long map compared to the LNs that we've seen earlier. A lot of really.
This ball in the combo. This is
It is very tense.
First one to drop, and that's the story. That they might not want to tell.
Oh, and up Mr. Moo.
The first one to drop, and then Spain's gonna run with this lead, even getting higher than before. Accuracy is on their advantage, combos on their advantage. Now it's a trade between Truki and Moo, and it's just on Lelpop and Aitor here to take it. And everybody misses actually. I think it's 2-1 still in favor of Spain here, and they're gonna run away with this lead.
Yeah, it looks like this
Accuracy
was.
is just too big.
Yeah, the accuracy buoyed by the anchor of Spain, Aitor 99.1. The only 99 left in the lobby. Everybody's trading misses at the end. There's only a sliver of map left. Not a lot of hope left for Canada. As
No
Spain.
combos.
Oh, Spain take it. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was very tense there for a moment. But Spain with the Rice accuracy, Aitor putting the team on his back despite any discomfort he might be feeling, and Spain takes it 7-4.
That was insane. That ending was like if Moo had a combo cap there, I think they got it. Like Spain absolutely crashed on that ending, and it didn't seem as obvious because Canada didn't have the combos to back it up and to somehow take that lead back on their hands. But Spain really did struggle with that ending a lot, and thanks for them, because they should be thankful that the Canada wasn't really holding their combo over there. After all, Spain had the better accuracy, so they had this buffer to play with. But that got very spicy at the ending, very tense, and a 7-4 would be the final result. I think does justice to this matchup. Maybe a 7-5 would have been more fitting, but arguably the best match of the week so far.
And it looks like we have the losers bracket matchups decided. Japan and Indonesia and Thailand going up against Spain. Oh boy, Spain, the last hope for Europe. All the North American teams are gone. All the South American teams are gone too, I believe.
Yep. Everything that is left right now is Asia and then a random Spanish flag. That's it.
Oh boy.
Like Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, China, Korea,
South Korea, the Philippines,
Malaysia, and the Philippines. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Spain. Those are the top 8 of this year. We see an imposter here, I think.
Little sus. With that being said, this is the end of this block of matches. We have South Korea going up against the Philippines at, I believe, 10 UTC?
Yeah, that will be correct. That is at 10 UTC for the winners bracket, the final match of the winners bracket, semifinals winners matchup between the South Koreans and the Philippines. And then we have Thailand versus Spain at 12 UTC right afterwards, and Japan versus Indonesia at 14 UTC. And after that, we should have the Maple Showcase. So we have like a bit of a gap in between every one of the matches. So like South Korea, Philippines, then you have an hour to get something to eat. Then you have Thailand, Spain, another hour to do something else. But even then, it should be a pretty exciting, I think, end of the semi-finals, I believe. South Korea, Philippines is going to be interesting. Thailand, Spain is definitely going to be interesting. But I think if there's one match of the 3 that you definitely do not want to miss, that would be Japan against Indonesia. I think that is the one that's going to be very close, and certainly the most unpredictable of all of this. I think any of the 2 teams can easily take the match if any sort of minor mistakes happen. For the case of Korea and Philippines, I mean, it's probably an uphill battle for the Philippines to play, but they have surprised us in the past already, so why not one more time? And Thailand, Spain, it really comes down to Law School performance and Aitor's ability to somewhat
counter it,
like equalize that score, right?
Yep. But with that being said, I mean, Juan, there's such a massive break between this match and the next one. Is there anything I can do to keep myself occupied during that time? Is there any way I can show my support for any of the teams remaining in this tournament?
Well, now that you're mentioning, I think there is a way if you want to, but we will be grateful if you want to, and if you do so, you can get yourself a banner for the sus team of the Spanish, or pretty much any of the teams, really, even if they got eliminated, you could get it as well. It's a shiny little badge that you get on your profile. It gets on top, and if you happen to pick the winner of the tournament at the end of the day, it will stick for a little bit longer. And honestly, they just look fantastic. Like, props to the designers, they always look amazing. And it's like a little way you could show some support to your favorite teams, to the tournament in general, to the 7-key scene, who's definitely more alive than ever before. And it's only $2.5, so why not?
Why not? Show your support, go buy yourself a banner, and as far as we're concerned, we'll be signing off. We'll see you guys later.